The college football experience, conference championship preview picks, and FCS playoff picks as well. Episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sports book. It's available in 45 different states. Download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and college basketball with Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
College football experience, conference championship preview and picks, and FCS playoffs episode as we continue on this journey to crown all these different national champions. We also have the 12-team invitational rankings coming out. YouTube.com/the college experience. Get on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. 'Tis the season, folks. We're trying to get to 15K. You can see I got a little Christmas tree set up there. Don't worry. All right. Don't worry. Been sitting over there plugging shit in all day. All right.
Is that pre-lit?
Yeah, it's pre-lit. You know what I mean? It's like a dome Christmas tree. You know what I mean? Boring. But someone gave me it. Hadn't got out there yet. So anyway, if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swig at Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Currently, this Arkansas-Miami game is a banger in college hoops. Check out the college basketball experience as well. Oh, no. What a dumb shot. Folks, I am joined by my co-host. He is, give it up for former defensive back for the JMU Dukes, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi.
Let's get it going. Let's get it going here.
I had a sneeze teasing me there for about 30 seconds.
It happens.
Dealing with it. Got to dial in.
It happens. I sneezed and I wiped my mouth with the college football playoff committee earlier. Give it up for the third man in the booth, the DFS god himself, the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, Tobacco Road living, the free lock giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
There we go. What's going on?
I've been speculating that Brian Bosworth should be taking the Tulsa, Oklahoma head coaching job.
Oh, man.
The Tulsa Golden Hurricane. You don't need coaching experience when you've dominated everything in life, whether it was the cinema and Stone Cold, all right, or the football field with everything he's done.
I mean, how much coaching experience did Eddie George have? How much did Deion have? There's probably some truth to that. Deion was like a high school coach before starting at Jackson State. And he just came in and kicked everyone's ass there, jumped up to the FBS and started kicking everyone's ass there.
I thought he was going to run for governor like Arnold. Does Oklahoma need a governor?
He should do that. Like
the new governor.
And it would be great too if like they don't agree with him, he just punches them in the face. So you're to sign this goddamn bill, all right? One way or another. I'm fucking Brian Bosworth, all right? The 12-team invitational came out today, and well, I'm ready to expand.
16 would be perfect. You don't have to worry about all this buy. I mean, why have buys and then the best teams don't get the buys? You know, a lot of it doesn't make sense.
Why have conferences with 20 teams?
Yeah,
I actually disagree with you a little bit. I think you want to, because here's why, Nick, because they're going to give all the buys to the SEC if the conference champions aren't rewarded. You know, just like they gave 2 playoff spots out of 4 to the SEC, they'll give 2 buys out of 4 to the SEC. And that's completely subjective. And I know we're going to talk about that. So,
well, wouldn't 16 be better? Just have no buys?
Yeah, well, that's true. Avoiding buys altogether, that would accomplish
that's
that.
coming, but we need 20. We need more than 16 because it's corrupt. You need to cast a bigger net because of the corruption, and the corruption has been happening since the beginning of fucking time. Oh, it was funny. I was going down a rabbit hole of I guess like how they crowned a national championship in the 20s. It was just anyone that it was the school's PR department. You know, you realize that, right? Like there was no TV. They're on trains. They're playing each other on trains. Like it's like a 15-hour train ride to take on, you know, like Marquette was playing, the Lehigh, you know what I mean? And it's like, you're sitting there like they're taking a fucking train from Milwaukee, Wisconsin and all these gigantic matchups. And it's like, how do they have any idea? It's anyone that was plugged into a beat or to a writer. Yeah.
Whoever can market your team the best.
All phony national championships. And look, and it's still going on. It's still going
things
on.
Haven't changed much in 150 years, huh?
And we still love the goddamn sport. All right.
Guilty.
So the new playoff rankings came out. They're a fucking joke. But at 1 is Oregon, 2 is Texas, 3 is Penn State, 4 is Notre Dame, 5 is Georgia, 6 is Ohio State. So let me get this straight. just want to be clear here. Ohio State was number 1. They lost a game, and they went to number 2.
That's when they lost to Oregon, right?
Yes,
that's understandable.
No, it's not.
I mean, usually
because every other team in the country,
one.
every other team in the country would fall further. And then you lose to a 7-5 team with some bad losses, and at home, by the way. And you
That's
only
a whole
dropped to
lot
number
less
6.
Understandable. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Well, Patty, I don't know if you listened to our show from last night, but this was our prediction basically.
Yeah.
We thought Ohio State would fall down, but still be right in front of Tennessee, which means we basically know who's hosting playoff games. It's going to be Notre Dame, Ohio State, loser of the Big Ten championship, loser of the SEC championship.
Yeah.
I am okay with that. 3 out of 4 cold destinations. Sign me up.
Yeah.
But I just thought it's ridiculous. Like, it's so corrupt. You can see the corruption just bleeding through your fucking face when you're talking. Ward Manuel talking. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Just shut up. Don't even give any reasoning because you're only going to be dumber.
Just
Second you talk. Yeah.
Don't allow that guy to have a Southern drawl. It already pisses us off enough that the SEC is getting that spot.
Well, just Ohio State at 6. Come on, man. I guarantee you if Indiana loses to a 7-5 team, they're out of the top 25.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You lose to a 7-5 team. If Indiana had lost to I don't know, Nebraska, I know they're 6-6, but somewhat Minnesota, they'd been out of the top 25. Minnesota 7-5.
Of course, Indiana doesn't have the wins that Ohio State does. Ohio State has a very nice win at Penn State, and they have the shellacking of Indiana.
True, but they also have 2 losses.
Well,
Indiana
has 2 losses. Another team that has 2 losses that might be a little mad is the Miami Hurricanes. We also predicted the fact that they would fall right behind Alabama, which sets up Alabama to get the last spot as long as SMU wins, or potentially even if SMU loses.
So at 6 is Ohio State, 7 Tennessee, 8 SMU, 9 Indiana, 10 Boise, 11 Alabama, 12 Miami, 13 Ole Miss, 14 South Carolina, 15 Arizona State. South Carolina and Arizona State haven't lost. I thought the wins meant more in November based on what they said, right? Didn't they say this a season ago? Those teams are like as hot as fucking possible in college football, short of Oregon. I don't know that there's a team hotter than South Carolina and Arizona State. They haven't lost since fucking October 5th or something.
Name brand means a lot, because so if Miami fell behind Alabama, why didn't they also fall behind Ole Miss and South Carolina, who are also 9-3?
It's just such a sham, dude.
They just needed them to fall behind.
Such a sham.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But
well, here's the thing that's even more ridiculous is Tennessee being ahead of SMU. Tennessee lost to Arkansas, right? Who are their wins?
6-6.
They got
Bama
Alabama.
Bama has 2 6-6 losses. Tennessee's got a 6-6 loss. What the fuck are we doing here? I don't even understand BYU being that far back at 18. 18 BYU.
Yeah, what's the difference between BYU and Miami? Basically, they're
or
both
BYU and Tennessee even.
This is it's becoming a bigger joke every year. But at least the best teams from each conference or the power conferences are given a chance. We don't have a 13-0 Florida State sitting out. So
no, but I still have a huge issue here. Like Alabama has 2 losses to 6-6 teams. One of them that lost to fucking Georgia State. All right. One of them lost to Georgia State.
Losing to Vandy's a bad loss.
All right. And you're sitting there saying that Miami's losses, which are to Georgia Tech, who just almost beat your number 5 ranked team. And I think a lot of people that watched that thought Georgia Tech played the better game. Georgia did not get the lead until overtime.
Yeah.
So there's that. 7-5 Georgia Tech. And then their other losses, 9-3 Syracuse. It's all bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. Any idiot that thinks we need to have this needs to be a large ass playoff. Where's Mike Leach when you need him? All right. Rest in peace to the king. Right. It needs to be bigger because the corruption is everywhere in the fucking sport. And the question that I now ask myself is that if SMU does lose to Clemson, which is like a fucking home game for Clemson, by the way, I'm sure they'll ignore that aspect of it. Are they going to knock SMU out? I think that's something we should ask ourselves, because that is ridiculous to me. If they knock SMU out, why even have the fucking season?
Yeah. So I'm not even that mad with Bama knocking Miami out. But Miami was kind of phony all year, but
they're the number one offense in the nation. They have the number one
Alabama's phony all year, dude. Alabama phony all year.
Well, who had a bigger gripe, Florida State last year or Miami this year to be above Alabama?
Oh, Florida State.
Once again,
Florida State, obviously, yeah.
Okay,
but SMU will have a bigger gripe, or the same as Florida State.
And also, I mean, before precedent was set last year, if you're a major conference team, if you have one less loss than the other one, you were basically almost automatically above them. Now, last year that changed with Bama getting in over Florida State, and it's continued this year.
Yeah. I think to an extent we should probably get used to that. I mean, to an extent, they're right.
This doesn't come to a surprise to any of us either. I mean,
that's why. No, I mean, the only thing would be is that like they said they were going to look at it differently this year, and to reach a conference championship game meant everything.
Well, the biggest gripe will be if SMU loses and doesn't get in, because in the regular season, SMU has 2 fewer losses than Alabama.
Well, I don't even understand how you put Bama in over Iowa State or Arizona State.
Yeah. I mean,
they're playing in the championship games. They don't have what are Arizona State's losses? I'm drawing a blank right now.
Arizona State lost without
Cincinnati.
Levitt. Without Levitt, though.
Yes, without their starting quarterback, which they valued that
and they lost
last year.
And they lost
Texas Tech, who's 8-4, and Cincinnati, who's 5-7, but without their starting quarterback to Cincinnati. And Iowa State's losses are to Kansas, that are 5-7, who's way better than Kansas would beat Vanderbilt by 2 touchdowns. And who's Texas Tech, 8-4. Fuck off. Get the fuck out of here, man. Like, it's just, it ruins, like, the 12 teams already, it's the same as the 4 to me. It's the same as the 4.
It's a lot better. Let's not get too down in the
No, the difference is the home environments.
No, this is the time to be down about it. This is annoying as shit to have to watch them do this. But
at least all Power 4s will get at least one representative in, and at least we'll have one G5 representative in. We knew that. I told you this was happening. This is going to happen, and I would not be surprised if SMU loses, Bama gets in, because we predicted this shit all the way back in July when we said there's a good chance ACC and Big 12 only get one team. You have to realize who is running college football.
But here's my problem here: is
the SEC and the Big 10.
They put Alabama ahead of the Ole Miss and South Carolina in their conference. So they honored the head-to-head win against South Carolina, but Ole Miss, Tulane Kiffin's point when he tweeted this out, of a better resume, and they've beaten the teams. They've beaten, like, who was it? He tweeted this out. I thought it was a great point by
Bama.
Now, Ole Miss does have the worst loss, though, the Kentucky loss.
Okay, so the Kentucky
I don't actually
lost.
think the Kentucky loss. I mean, did Vandy play Kentucky?
Yeah, Vandy beat him. Vandy beat him.
Okay,
at
so
Kentucky.
maybe Kentucky is the worst loss. Yeah.
Well, Kentucky's 4-8. Kentucky's 4-8.
Kentucky
So
only lost to Texas by 14, like 2 weeks, or maybe it was 17 by the end of the game, but kept it kind of close. Kentucky isn't a good team; it's a bad loss, but they're not awful. Yeah.
Well, here's my problem then. So Ole Miss has losses to Kentucky, LSU, and who? Florida.
Yes.
So why is Ole Miss ahead of Arizona State and Iowa State? Because they have the worst loss of any of those with a 4-win team.
A win over Georgia helps.
Okay, but you still lost to a 4-win team. No one else has lost to a 4-win team.
Right.
I actually think no one on the top 25 has lost to a 4-win team.
What we need to do is come up with an off-season project which tries to, like, account for how many points are awarded for, make a point system out of how many points are awarded for like wins, how many points are deducted for losses, and historically see. It's almost impossible to do, and I think that's what they get by on. It's just like no one is able to track, like, with a system, and they can just tweak it however they want, make a narrative any year they want, and make the tweak they need to get their teams in. And here we are, 4 Big 10, 4 SEC, 1 Big 12, 1 ACC.
Maybe 2.
Fucking stupid.
And like, another thing I would bring up is, like, Ole Miss's schedule was easy as fuck. Okay, they beat Georgia, but this is also a team that they're non-con. If you were comparing it to,
hey, they played Wake Forest on the road.
Yeah, Middle Tennessee is a bottom 5 team. Furman's a bad FCS this year. They also played Mississippi State, who's trash in the SEC.
They also got their ass kicked by Florida. Or I guess
I just don't understand.
Yeah.
It's just corrupt. That's the best way to put it, because, like, Arizona State's schedule was incredibly challenging. Arizona State beat that same Mississippi State team, and I think they beat them by a similar margin. And then you're sitting there saying, like, Arizona State played at Texas State, right? I don't. It's just corrupt. That's the best way to put it.
Well, look at SMU. SMU plays the ACC schedule, and then out of conference they play BYU, who is 10-2, and they play TCU, who is 8-4. They play 10 P4s.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing I would like to bring up too. Alabama has the worst losses on the entire schedule of the top 25. Does anybody else have 2 losses to 500 or below teams?
Probably not.
I don't think so. Arizona State has Kansas or not Kansas, but Cincinnati at 5-7. Iowa State has Kansas at 5-7. That's only 1 loss. I don't think anybody else in the whole entire top 25 has 2 losses to a 6-6 team or worse. It's fucking pathetic.
Yeah. Now,
fucking pathetic system.
Now,
dude.
Does Bama have the best wins? Georgia, South Carolina, Mizzou, LSU.
The Mizzou one is bullshit too. They're propping that one up to be something. No, they don't have the best wins. Georgia's got better wins.
Well, Georgia's ranked.
Oh, behind them, you're saying?
Yeah.
What is Carolina? Who is South Carolina beat? Clemson, who's in the mix, right?
Yes,
Clemson.
kinda.
Who else does South Carolina beat?
South Carolina, A&M, Missouri.
Yeah. Okay, so
That's not as good.
cancel out Mizzou. Okay. What about the likes of? I mean, who the fuck did Arizona State beat? Trying to think off the top of my head. Kansas State, who was ranked last week in this field.
They beat BYU.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Arizona State has lost to Kansas and Utah. No. They beat Kansas and Utah. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying their wins. I get like that Georgia one's probably better, but who cares? You lost to 2 6-6 teams. One of them you scored 3 points. You scored 3 fucking points.
And a lot of these teams have one less loss than Bama.
Alabama does not belong in the field.
Yeah.
You know why they did it? Points and lost 24-3.
They did it to put them against Notre Dame in the first round.
Yeah.
To put them on Friday night against Notre Dame.
And I think we have to think about it as who's more deserving rather than who you think will win straight up. Because you can certainly make an argument that Bama would beat Miami and Bama would beat BYU. And
I'll fucking take Kansas to beat Alabama right now. They already lost to 2 6-6 teams. What's a 5-7 team that plays 9 conference games?
That's what I'm saying. That's the subjective part. I mean, I think Bama is good enough to beat anybody in this whole thing. But obviously, nobody's great this year, and they're shaky enough where they could lose to a couple 6-6 teams also. So you have to look at it and say who's most deserving.
Being wildly inconsistent isn't a great argument. You know, having a super high ceiling but a super low floor, that's not playoff worthy.
I'm just saying, anybody in the top 25, no one is even close to 2 losses like that, especially 1 2 weeks ago, where the wins are supposed to mean more because you're forgiving Notre Dame for that Northern Illinois loss because it was early in the year. It's a blemish, right? They've proved themselves to be legit. But wait, Alabama's was 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they scored 3 points on the road against a shitty Oklahoma team who scheduled light as fuck in the non-con, or they would be 5-7, right? This is it's just garbage. It's just absolute garbage. And yeah.
Well, let me say this. One interesting thing that I think a lot of the prognostications that I've seen in predictions has Notre Dame over Penn State, assuming Penn State loses the Big Ten championship. Right now, Penn State's at number 3. Notre Dame, I believe, is at number 4. So why would, if supposedly you can't be affected, if you can't improve, so to speak, your position because you don't have an extra data point. Why is Notre Dame presumably going to jump Penn State just because Penn State lost on conference championship weekend? I think we are definitely anticipating that happening, and then Penn State will become the 6th seed, and Notre Dame will become the 5th seed.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do to the teams that lose their conference championships. And we'll see if it's uniform across the board. Like, will they not penalize Penn State, but potentially penalize SMU? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the teams that lose. But yeah, I think we're all of the opinion that if you lose the conference championship game, you should not be negatively affected by that in comparison to a team that doesn't play one.
I'm just trying to understand this. Wait, so Miami was up 21 points in that game. They watched it. They were up 21. They dropped farther on losing on the road to a 8-3 team that became 9-3. Then Ohio State did, losing at home to a 6-5 team, and they only scored 10 points at home. It's a fucking sham. The fuck out of here.
The good thing is that we got some conference championship games that should be some. I mean, the great thing about this coming week is that all these spreads are tight. We should have some fire games, and we're here to pick them. If
Let's have a little fun here.
If Colby can take a shot of sake or whatever he's been drinking lately.
I got whiskey today. I needed whiskey after watching that bullshit live coming, like just bullshit.
We all knew this was going to happen, though, so I don't see why you're so affected.
I actually thought when Bama lost to both 6-6 teams, especially the way they did, they never had the lead against Vandy, and I mean, just blown out against a shitty Oklahoma team. I thought there's no way they can justify that. There's no way they can justify that.
EV Steeler says Patty looks like Kevin from The Office.
Jeez, I need the off season. I'm drinking too much.
By the way, By the way, Michigan did fire their offensive coordinator, QB coach, Kirk Campbell. Kirk Campbell, get the fuck out of here. That's what happens when you bring in Biff Poggi. We'll start busting heads. All right. What else do we have? Mike McIntyre fired at Florida International. Neil Brown fired at West Virginia. Stan, I mean, we knew that. How about Temple hiring? What's my guy's name? The Sam Houston head coach. Yeah. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Jeez. Former Delaware head coach. Anyway, Temple. I haven't. No, it's a great hire for Temple. I actually think that's going to put them on the map in the AAC with the 12-team playoff.
Who was that? Casey Keeler.
Keeler, no, yes. Yeah, that's him. Yeah. I think that is a plus fucking hire. I know we have our episode to get to, but I really believe, like, dude, that guy's won everywhere he's gone.
Yeah.
And he brought a national championship to Sam Houston State.
You know, I was kind of surprised he left Sam Houston for Temple.
Well, he's from there. He's from Philly. So, like, to me, he'd been there a little bit and they offered more money. And then I also just think I know that Temple was in talks to do their own stadium, and when they fired Drayton, like a week after that, they voted against getting their own home stadium, which is stupid. But they should, like, this one might save them a little bit. You know, this one is one where I actually believe in the AAC. He's that maybe proven
some success. Well, he'll bring in some more money and they'll be able to build that stadium.
I'll be honest. If ECU would have hired this guy, it would have been way better than fucking Blake Harrell. Like,
yeah,
I am sold on this guy being a legit head coach. He was at Delaware for a while. Before that, he won at Rowan, I think it was. That's a really good hire. We also
how long has he been at Sam Houston?
A good amount of time. Yeah. I don't have his resume. Long enough,
obviously, to win a national championship a few years back. So.
Yeah. But I mean, and then the year that they had, then FAU hired Zach Kitley. Saw that. We saw his old. I think
that's a pretty good hire too.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. He's young. I mean, I do think he's been able to put up points. It could have a little Cliff Kingsbury to it. You saw his old OC, Ben Arbuckle, who was with him at Houston Christian. Petty C, remember watching them the COVID year? It was like one of the first games we got.
That's right. That was the first first COVID game, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was like that or the second, one of the two. But Arbuckle got hired to be Oklahoma's OC coming over from Washington State.
I was going to say, go back to Kitley 1 second. I was going to say Kitley could be like GJ Kinney.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, he kind of had a disappointing season.
He could also be like Eric Morris.
True. Yeah, but he's raised up the program, even though this year was disappointing. So I like the hire.
I saw that Brent Vegan, the head coach of Montana State, they're playing in a playoff game. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Is the front runner to land the Utah State job. I saw Kennesaw State hired Jerry Mack as their head coach, the running backs coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I actually think this hire is all right because he was pretty damn good at North Carolina Central. A few years back, like about 7-8 years back. So that hire might work out there for Kennesaw. Gus Malzahn, Patty C, taking the Florida State OC position. They brought in, by the way, oh man, I'm drawing a blank. I haven't slept enough. But Tony White, the DC of Nebraska. So I love the Tony White hire. I am a skeptic on the Gus Malzahn hire at the OC position for Florida State.
Well, I don't know if we mentioned it last episode. I think we mentioned it briefly, but I don't know that Florida State using a gimmick offense has ever been. I mean, they were a little gimmicky in the 90s when they were, going all fast paced, kind of spreading the ball around and going with the speed, but they had the personnel certainly to make that work. But, since then, they've pretty much been pro style for 25 years now. So it is definitely interesting to see Florida State go a different route, go a little cha-cha-cha. I think they probably have no shortage of quarterbacks that can run that system really well. There's tons of speed down in Florida, obviously. But, again, I would think a Malzahn system is more one of the run-happy spread offenses, spread option attacks, and so maybe you're not going to get a ton out of your passing game. It worked for Auburn, so we'll see. But I don't know. I agree with you. I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah, I didn't think the hire was that great. Folks, I want to tell you I'm going to talk more about hires in a second, but the college football experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Pick'em is one of the biggest menus for all the sports, college football, NFL, college hoops, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and much, much more. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries as well. So what are you doing, folks? Get on over there to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash with the promo code TCE SGPN. Once again, underdogfantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. I think we have some stuff out there, so I'm going to throw this quickly at you. I'm going to hot potato you, Nick.
All right. What we got?
Ricky White, the star receiver, Michigan State transfer for UNLV. Higher or lower 75.5 receiving yards.
So he's come down. He's come down a little bit when we talked about this a couple weeks ago when it was at 99, I think, and it just barely went under in what game was that? I think that was a game at San Jose State, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna go lower. I think it's gonna be darn cold out in Boise, and I think it's gonna be not as much offense as we might expect. So I go lower on Ricky White.
And then how about the likes of Kanye Udo for Army, higher or lower 46.5 rushing yards. I like the higher on this one. I don't think Tulane's going to want to tackle up there. And they're calling for potential snow. Yeah.
Number 34 rush defense in the nation, Tulane. So, maybe they are.
But that's down there. That's down there in New Orleans.
Yeah,
right?
The swamp and
I agree with Kobe on that. Give me the higher.
New York, two different places. Yeah, give me the higher too. Although I will say this, with Bryson Daly running the ball as much as he does, Udo might not get all those carries that, especially. I mean, I got to say, who's the running back that I love over there?
Tyrell Robinson.
Robinson got a little more involved recently, but still hasn't gotten the lion's share of the carries, or even like
I thought you were the Noah Short guy.
I love Short. I love Robinson.
You love them all.
I love their fullback.
All right.
You just love a man in uniform, don't you?
I do love a man in uniform. Let's be honest. But no, I'm just saying Bryson Daly hogs so much of the carries for good reason. That maybe, but I still think 46 for Udo. They'll get it done. Get it done.
What's Genty at? Are you still on there, Colby?
Yeah, I still got it here. It's 173 and a half.
Lower. I like the lower on that too.
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see about that one. I mean, I guess I think I would teeter towards lower too. Get on over to Underdog Fantasy, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sportsbook available in 45 different states. There's plenty of betting opportunities available on Rebet. It's easy to use, great for people in states where traditional sportsbooks may be restricted. Hello, California. Download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. All right, we are back. Landon Smith, am I done bitching about Alabama yet? No, I will talk about this for the next.
Don't fire him up. Come on.
I will talk about this for the next fucking 20 years of my fucking life. All right, I won't forget this when I'm on my deathbed. The cockamamie bullshit they do every time. It is a goddamn charade. All right. All those people in the committee room should take a blowtorch to that fucking committee room, because none of them are qualified good human beings, because they're all bought and paid for. They're all bought and paid for scumbag fucks. All right.
He's very angry today.
Yes.
He wasn't as angry last night. I wonder if he's still having some internet issues.
Yeah,
that's true.
Exactly.
That's true. Look, if they want me to speak good on Alabama, at least include me on some of these goddamn luncheons. All right. All right. You're gonna meet
Colby's a race car in the red. You better watch out.
Yeah. You're gonna have these dinners at the Ritz. All right. Give old Pick Dundee some of them charcuterie. All right. Before
that was the George W. Bush fucking pronunciation right there.
All right, give me some of that charcuterie. All right, you goddamn bastards sitting over there in your 5-star hotels, just all bought and paid for, coming out, and they're like a fucking politician. They're coming out with the illusion of we've really hammered it home. We've been there. These are tough decisions that we made. Bullshit. You knew from the start Alabama was going to get in. Fucking patronize me. All right.
I'll just say that I love a good charcuterie board, and maybe like people think it's not very manly, but you're throwing in like a bunch of like salamis and pepperoni and cheese and olives. I mean, what is
that's your inner Duke fan coming out?
I will say this though, those small little pickles are bullshit. I like the real deal. Put the big pickles there. The small little ones they try to throw there. This is getting
a little odd for me.
The small pickle is a problem because it's a sweet pickle. I agree. I don't like
phony.
The sweet pickle.
Every time you eat that, you're like, what the fuck am I eating here? But I still eat it. I still eat it because it's on the board. But
if pickles, Clausen, the best. The only pickle I go Clausen.
And you can get that in hot and spicy style. All right.
Ooh. Now we're talking.
You get a hot and spicy one. You might, if you're real swift. All right. Goddamn charcuterie. All right. Invite me to the Ritz, you filthy whores. Ward Manual. Never trust any human being named Ward. All right. That's a rule. All right. I'm Ward Manual here. We did this. It was tough decision making what we did. When we came out, fuck you. All right. You just basically were told what to do. There's hey, Alabama draws a big TV number. We're going to put them in. Oh, are we? So we don't need to talk. We don't need to talk about this Vanderbilt and Oklahoma loss, do we?
We were almost done with this segment, Landon. I blame you.
Yeah, I may have a Ward Manual neck right now. Believe me, it's not going to last very long. But at least I'm not a complete piece of shit like Ward Manual. That guy, by the way, he's not eating charcuterie. Right. He's eating Waffle House. That's where that guy. He's just pouring on the syrup every morning. Let's be honest.
At least I can look myself in the eyes. All right, when I fucking go to brush my teeth at night. All right, I look my Ward Manual. You filth. Your fucking university buying cheeseburgers for all your goddamn recruits. You got your fucking coaches sleeping on the top of the bunk beds. All right, you dirty John Stallion motherfuckers there. All right.
All right, come on, guys, reel it in.
Right,
God,
let's make some picks. Let's go.
Well, I was going to talk a little more of the coaching carousel before this Bama
Who else
bullshit.
We got?
No, I was going to ask you guys, who do you think we're like? West Virginia, there's speculation Rich Rod could be coming back there, which might have implications on the game we're about to handicap. Then you have Mike McIntyre done Pit Bowl. I mean, come on, are they going to go? Willie Simmons is one I threw out there on the TCE account. Willie, I think I quickly threw out Willie Simmons to FIU. Rich Rod comes back to Dub V. UCF goes for Koto Nicky, right? But that's tricky because he's in the playoffs. You kind of want the portal opens Friday, which is fucking hilarious.
Nicky's from Minnesota, so I don't know if that's too far out of his stomping grounds. Obviously, UCF went and got
land of 10,000 lakes, buddy.
Yeah.
He's used to being around water. He'll be fine in Florida.
That's why Florida's completely landlocked. We're just geographic idiots right now. But anyway.
You got the Sam Houston job open. I think they should call the one and only Ed Orgeron. I think he's the guy that fixed it. I wanted him at Southern Miss, but it's another one. There's speculation that Charles Huff, Marshall, with their ridiculous expectations. Remember they fired Doc Holliday for going like 10-3 every year?
Yeah, who do they think they are?
Now they didn't extend Charles Huff, so his contract runs out after the season. And there's you had a beat reporter for Southern Miss saying that he's accepted the job, but it's not official yet. Now Huff pushed back on this, but of course you're going to push back on it because you're playing for him.
And Huff didn't deny though. He just said, "I know.
No, he's
another job yet."
They tried to fire him last summer. I think he's gone. I think he's Southern Miss's next head coach because I wanted Orgeron there with all that Brett Favre blood money in there.
Yeah,
but yeah, so. I don't know what Marshall has some of the crazier expectations I've ever seen. You did see App State fire
Sean Clark.
Yeah, Sean Clark. NC Nick. Who do you think will fit? I know Patty C's hoping Satterfield comes home.
that would be great. I mean, yeah. Honestly, I haven't put a ton of thought into the coaching fits just because I'm dialed into the games right now. But I mean, the one name that I threw out there was Tyler Santucci, who was the defense coordinator for Georgia Tech last year. He was the defense coordinator for Duke under Elko. I think he'd be a good hire. I think he's ready for a gig somewhere. He's familiar with the Carolinas. For me, that's a name that sounds very appealing.
I like the Santucci one. All right, I think that's a good one. I think Weehawk needs to be worried about Kerwin Bell.
Yeah,
former Florida coach and the head coach of Western Carolina. Those offenses can fly. And then you saw Purdue fire Ryan Walters. Who do you think? That's a hard job.
Well, no, the name that you guys forgot, and I forget what show you were on. You were kind of trying to think of who you thought it was.
The recap show.
It was Brian Kelly.
That's right. But he beat Oklahoma. He survived. He's there for another year. It seems like.
Yeah, true.
So who does Purdue turn to? I think I was wondering about Brian Brom, but Jeff was able to bring him over before. I think they tried to hire him, but I think there's something about being a brother to the brother effect.
I wonder if there's bad blood there at all, or do you think that helps him? It might help him a little bit.
Brian Brom, it seems like the one that I would call if I was Purdue, but if not, then
Brian Brom's OC right now
for Louisville, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if this guy's that appealing. So he's a little bit up there in age, and he's only coached at one spot. But I think Tim Albin, the coach for Ohio, is a fantastic head coach.
West Virginia and Purdue should look at him.
Yeah,
I mean that job he did this year. We'll talk about them in a second here, but
I think he's up like about 60 or so, though. I mean, not that matters. That's still plenty of time to coach, but you kind of wonder if he's happy just at Ohio.
Yeah. By the way, did I say Brent Vegan was the head candidate at Utah State? I meant Fresno State. Fresno State is what I read. Utah State, I think, was looking at who the fuck were they looking at? I think I read. I don't remember. Someone in the FCS ranks.
Let me ask you this: is there any G5 coach that could potentially bring all his players over like Signetti did?
Yes,
because I don't think Purdue.
Rich Rod.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah.
Although I think both Stewart, the running back, and Huff, the quarterback, are seniors, fifth year potentially. So they're not coming, and they're the heart and soul of that offense.
Still, the some of those running backs or wideouts, I think, are more athletic than
Rich Rod is not a fit at Purdue. But no, I'm sure
West Virginia. I'm saying West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm talking about at Purdue. Purdue. Here's the thing about them: they're never going to be sexy. They're never going to go out and just have they're never going to have the prime time effect potential. Colorado has that potential. Okay. Purdue, despite the black and the gold, does not have that potential. Too nerdy, too up in the cold, whatever.
That's why
they're basically Northwestern,
Tim Albin's right there. I don't know how far that drive is. He could bring a bunch of his Ohio Bobcats there and
that's true. Right? I mean, Curtis Work was right there. So
yeah.
I do think who's our quarterback now? The UCF transfer for Ohio. I think he's out of eligibility.
Parker Navarro. Yeah. I even think Chris Creighton. I know he went 5-7 this year, but he still hit the win total over. I think Chris Creighton gets the best out of his teams, and I think at Purdue, that's what you're searching for. You're searching for Joe Tiller,
right,
and Jeff Brom. To me, are the two that could win there, and they got the best out of their teams.
Is there also a hot shot assistant? What about Kotelnicki, who's at Penn State right now?
Yeah, he could fit.
He could fit, and he's from Minnesota, right there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Does Indiana have a really good assistant as either OC or DC?
That's crossing the line.
They have a great defensive coordinator, but that is crossing the line. But I forget the guy's name. I should know it off the top of my head because he was at JMU last year.
Hear me out.
They had one of the top rush. I think he might have had the top rush defense in the country at JMU last year, and Indiana has the top rush defense in the country in this year. That's not a fucking accident. That's the defensive coordinator. So whoever that guy is should probably be on some radars.
Here's a name for you. Sure. Brian Hartline.
Yeah.
Would he take it though?
He needs a shot at some point, man.
Yeah, right now he's just a receiver coach.
I just feel like if he waits it out a little bit, he might get a better offer than Purdue. But
how about might get the Ohio State job if they fucking lose?
How about Elton John? I mean Al Groh. Right?
No, Golden, not
Al Groh. Al Golden is what I meant. Al Golden, not Al Groh. I'm telling you, man, I'm lacking sleep over here, man. I said Al Groh. You didn't remember his photos? Yeah, Al Golden was wearing like these all year. He's
No,
been
he
wearing
looks
these.
like a butch
Yeah.
lesbo. Yeah.
I was all
Al
kind of
Golden.
confused
Al
there.
Golden, not Al Groh. Al Groh catches strays. The guy's in a retirement home up the street. He's just catching strays here.
What about Mike Groh?
Mike Groh never worked. He went down to Alabama. We're all over the place. All right. Don't we have to pick some games here?
We could just talk about the disrespect. All right, folks. Want to tell you that the college football experience is brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie's been running on SGPN for years. Now we're back. Check out their new and improved website. It's great on mobile. They got early new cash out options, plus props for every game, and the live dealer casino is always a blast. Head over to mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Plus, they're going to give you a little $10 casino chip to get your beak wet. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's proud partner. Rhythm is the #1 AI-backed sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds to get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props, all that good stuff. You can copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or you can build your own model and have Rhythm build a model for you. They just introduced college basketball back on November 2nd. It's fantastic. And you can now track the props in the Rhythm app as well. College basketball, college football, NFL, NBA, everything. They got it all over at Rhythm. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right. Let's talk about Friday.
Yeah.
We just saw this game. This game was awesome. Did you guys watch this? Western Kentucky made a 54-yard field goal to win the game to get them into the Conference USA Championship. But now they got to go to Jacksonville, Alabama, which I was ready to load up on a large-ass wager on. And by the way, I definitely messed this up. Western Kentucky is not a 3.5-point favorite. Yeah. Jacksonville State is a 3.5-point favorite. And let me ask you about the distraction here with Rich Rod. Is there a chance here that could mean Western Kentucky is live? Because I was ready to just hammer Jacksonville State, and if I'm being honest, I already bet Jacksonville State. But I am. The more I hear that he's interested in the West Virginia job, I'm like, damn it, pay attention to this game, Rich. NC Nick, what are you doing here, and what do you think about how much is he paying attention to this game?
Well, I mean, it's definitely something you have to take under consideration. Like, I don't know if I would take Western Kentucky if that was the only thing that you disliked about Jacksonville State. But for me, I was actually thinking Hilltoppers to begin with. So if anything, that makes me like that side better. I mean, they did have 100+ more yards of offense.
Huff didn't play last week, though, right?
Well, he got hurt.
He got hurt. Yeah.
Okay.
And that's a big thing too. I mean, right now, today they came out and said that Huff is a game time decision, which I think is why we saw the line.
Well, he's waiting to see what Rich Rod does.
maybe, but we saw the line drop about a point. It was at like -4, -4.5. Now it's at -3.5. That tells you that some people are questioning if he's going to play. Now, if he doesn't play, I'm not the biggest Logan Smothers fan. I mean, we saw him start the year under center and get blown out by Coastal.
He's supposedly the fastest player on the team.
There will be no Smothers slander on this fucking show, right?
If Huff does play, he has an ankle injury and he's primarily a running quarterback. That doesn't sound like a great situation to be in. And
buddy, Western Kentucky needed a 55-yarder. Did you see that field goal? It made it by like a fucking can of Smothers jelly.
Well, the last 2 years, the score of these games were 19-17 and 20-17. So it certainly seems to me like it's going to be another low-scoring game. And even if he would have missed that field goal, they still would have covered this spread here. So I'm actually on the Hilltoppers. I think anything over 3 is too much in a coin flip game with the potential injury to the quarterback, with the potential distraction with the head coach possibly leaving. I'm all over the Hilltoppers.
Well, we're gonna have to do some battling here because I think you're full of shit. I think you're full of shit, and I think Rich Rod he's never won a Conference USA championship. So even if he is leaving, he's gonna tell Pat McAfee to say, "Hey, let me finish out with my guys down here." Then I'll bring a bunch of these sons of bitches up to Morgantown because you guys haven't had an athletic wideout in fucking since Reggie Rambert. All right, so or James Jett. Let's go. Now we got a problem. Now we got a problem.
Oh, that leaves Patty C.
We got a battle in Jacksonville, Alabama. Dundee on these Gamecocks. Let's see Nick going with the blob over here. Patty C, what are you doing here?
Well, I got to go with my boy, but I'm certainly not locking this. The fact that it's in Jacksonville, Alabama helps. That moves the needle a little bit in the Gamecocks' favor. 3.5 points on the road. Western Kentucky's favored by it. A little bit insulting.
No. Remember that graphic's wrong. Jacksonville State is favored by 3.5.
Okay, so sorry, I was looking at that wrong too. Then and I didn't hear that. That is, maybe I do go Western Kentucky though, because that half point, that little hook is a little scary. Especially without Tyler Huff. I mean, I would have this game really close one way or another. I think either team being favored by 3.5 points is too much. So if Jacksonville stays favored, then yeah, I guess I got to go Western Kentucky.
And for the record, Huff is game time decision. He might play. I think he probably will play, but how effective?
Perfect. I love being on an island here because it's hard to beat a team twice in the same season.
And to Weehawk's point, I definitely like the under on this too.
Next on Friday, we're going to West Point, where this is my favorite one because Tulane. First off, we have snow in the forecast for what I think Wednesday night to Thursday. We have a high of 31, but this is a night game, so it's going to be 24 degrees. 24 degrees in West Point, New York. I was looking at this earlier, and by the way, Tulane -5, the over/under at 45.5. Tulane's toughest temperature on the road this year. They played at Navy, but surprisingly, that day at Navy was 60 degrees. All right, so 60 degrees at Navy. They played at Charlotte. That was 72. Right? They played at North Texas. That was 80. They played at UAB. That was 87. They played in Norman.
Into like September. I think
that was 88. My point is this is 20. What did I say? 22 degrees? 22 degrees.
It's going to be at kickoff. It's going to be mid to low 20s. It's going to be cold.
Dude, they're already not like, first off, John Summerall's another guy taking interviews, right? This is another one like Rich Rod. We were like, how much does Tulane care to even be there? They can't make the playoffs with a win here. They got players probably in the portal. They got a coach that's might be looking at the Stoops retiring. Let me know. Is UCF going to call Summerall? I've heard a lot of speculation about that.
That would be pretty shitty if Tulane loses coaches in back-to-back years.
It
would be like App State back in the day with Satterfield and Drinkwitz.
Yeah, I'm locking up Army.
Yeah,
I think Army's still alive for the playoffs. You let UNLV. Let's say UNLV wins 24-21 against Boise, which I don't think is going to happen, but I'm just saying. And Army puts it on Tulane 31-0. I think it's a interesting decision because then you have 12-1 Army against 11-2 UNLV, and it's hard to fade the troops. A PR nightmare, in my opinion, for Ward Manuel and company with their goddamn charcuterie. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, I love the fact that Friday night we have two warm weather dome teams playing in very cold environments. It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to the environment around them.
Well, Tulane's not a dome team anymore. They used to be.
True. I guess so. Yeah. But they're a warm weather team, right?
Yeah, they're still sissies. I get it. You could say it.
And Darian Mensah, the quarterback, who's had a pretty good freshman year. He's gone into some tough environments, but he is from San Luis Obispo, California. So it's not exactly like he's used to playing in upstate New York in December. Plus, we have the top two defenses in the American. Here's another game where I feel like it's going to be pretty low scoring. It's going to be long drives, sucking that clock. Suck that clock, Patty C. I just think
Tony Bennett's no longer coaching UVA, so I'm glad
now it's a Jeff Monken thing. Suck that clock.
That's right. And I think everything about this game screams take the points in a close game. So I'll lock up Army with you. And don't just bring up that Navy game because Horvath got knocked out in the first quarter. I know
first
Tulane,
drive, I think. I was thinking it was the first drive. Yeah.
Tulane whooped Navy 35-0. First off, Navy is no Army this year. People like to lump them together, which they shouldn't. And Horvath missed their quarterback missed most of the game. So I like Army a lot here. Yep.
Patty C.
You know, the only thing that concerns me is that Tulane rushing defense. Notre Dame only had the number 52 rush defense, granted, playing a little bit harder of a schedule probably than Tulane. Tulane number 34. So
I think Tulane played a harder schedule than Notre Dame.
Yeah, maybe. You know so if that's true, then
Kansas State and Oklahoma.
Tough FCS comp or not. I guess you can't say tough. But relative to what Tulane normally faces, and relative to what Army faced, that is tougher. But then I don't know. I know you're trying to shit on Notre Dame, but what I'm trying to say here is,
I'm just saying you had Memphis, Kansas State, Kansas State, Oklahoma at Oklahoma. Then you have the likes of this Army game where Notre Dame doesn't.
It's certainly
play
not that different, and it could be where Tulane shuts down Army's rush offense in the same way that Notre Dame did. I would say that, what is it, 45.5? That's not a huge point total, but I think they're, if I'm not mistaken, number 11 and number 13 respectively on defense, number 81 and number 101 respectively on offense. So not a lot of offense for either team. Very good defenses for both teams. And then, like you said, the cold weather. I think you definitely want to take Army to cover this. I think they'll win outright, though. I think Army's.
I think so too.
And let's be honest. I mean, Tulane was a good story this year, but they have a lot of wins against very bad teams. Like the bottom of the American this year was
just like Notre Dame.
True.
Well, just like Army.
I mean, if you look at any decent team, Tulane either lost.
Wait. Hang on. Just like Ole Miss, just like Missouri, just like wait, who else in the playoffs? Indiana, right? This is a perfect blueprint to how to make the playoffs. But yeah, I'm sorry. Continue.
No, I think we've made our points here and we picked our sides. We're all on Army, right?
Triple lock. All right, moving along. Friday night. This is the game I feel best about. Absolute best about. I think I looked this up to start the season, and I don't believe since they're 11-1 and lost at Eugene, I think it's still accurate that they've only lost 11 games since 1998 on the Smurf turf. UNLV is heading to the Smurf turf, little dome team, and if you haven't checked out the weather here,
it's about the same.
It's very, very similar. We are looking at this one, a chance of snow Friday night to Saturday morning. So if that thing arrives a little bit early, but you are looking at first off 23-mile-an-hour winds, but also this is a night game, so you're looking at 28 degrees to 30 degrees, something like that. Hajj Malik Williams, I love Hajj Malik. He confirmed that he has no idea where Boise is. Even if you mentioned it, I wouldn't know where Boise is on a map.
I think a little deep dive on him too. While we're on Hajj Malik Williams too. Look, I'm a huge fan. I mean, he played most of his career right down the road from me in Bowie's Creek, North Carolina at Campbell. He's from Atlanta, but I went back and looked at his road games while at Campbell. Dude, they played a lot of Carolina, Virginia schools. He had like one or two road games like in the Northeast in October. But nothing like he's going to see in Idaho in December. Kind of similar to the Tulane angle.
Oh, Boise's going to blow them out, dude.
I actually think if this was a neutral site, I think UNLV could have won. I think,
yeah.
You know, what UNLV does well is they have the top run defense in the Mountain West. They limited Ginty to his worst game of the year, the first time they played this year. He still ran for 128 a touchdown, but they made him earn it. 33 carries below 4 yards per carry while he's averaging over 7 on the season. So they made him earn it. It wasn't the most efficient games, even though he still produced. But the fact that this game is on the Smurf turf in Boise, you got to ride Broncos. Got
And one of the reasons why I thought Ginty maybe higher on the rushing total there is they haven't played. I looked at so the coldest environment they played at was in Logan, but that night was 73 degrees.
Yeah. Look at the November road trips for UNLV have been Hawaii and San Jose State.
No, they haven't played anybody. And that's another thing is like, I don't even know if their rush defense is that good. Kansas had 200 yards on them, but they haven't played. They played a lot of passing teams.
Well,
man.
I mean, but if you look at what I just said, they limited Ginty to his worst game of the season
at that filthy bullshit little roller rink there in Vegas.
You would think that a running back with his abilities, his type, would excel in a dome environment. So yeah, maybe it's a little tougher sledding in the snow. I mean, it's 41 high, 32 on Saturday.
No, this is Friday, buddy. This is Friday.
Sorry,
yeah.
Friday night
40 and 28. Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's clear. So it's cold weather doesn't. I would think the elements would have got him a little more, but yeah, in clear weather and just cold, he'll probably still get off. The other thing is he has the opportunity here where Hunter's, sideline. The whole Colorado team is not playing this weekend. Do they try and get him a bunch of yardage? I don't think they do it at the expense of their playoff chances.
They're just trying to win, but
they might run up the damn score, and he might get some.
This is a lock.
Stats.
This
you know what? I agree, Colby. I think it's a lock also. Well, I think I might do like a triple under parlay. I kind of like all the unders Friday night.
I kind of like it. The Jacksonville State was the one I think you're gonna sweat the most, but I like these other two. Yeah. Lock it up. Whoa. Lock it up. Do we have a triple lock here? Because I think I think this will be something like 35-13.
So it was a 4-point game the first time around. What did the box score look like that? I need to double check how that went. UNLV went up 10-3 in the first. Boise poured it on and had it 20-10 by but no, there's a little bit of a back and forth affair. UNLV had the lead in the fourth quarter. So,
well, the one thing about that game is that the only thing UNLV could do offensively was Haji Malik Williams running the football. I think he had like 20 carries for over 100 yards. I think Boise will be prepared for that. So UNLV will need a plan B, and that'll have to be the passing game, and we'll see how the passing game goes on the Smurf turf in the cold.
Yeah. I mean, I will lock it. Did you guys both lock it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll lock Boise. I think they cover that. The Smurf.
A lot of people go to college for 7 years.
Triple lock. Let's go. That was also in the dome, though. I think it's harder to tackle when it's bitter cold. I think it's harder to tackle. It's harder to commit to tackle. I think you're slower just naturally coming out of it.
You think that favors the offense?
I do.
I think it favors the team that's used to it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you're right.
All right, Saturday morning. So the Friday games are done. Saturday morning.
Hold on, one second. What was that stat about the Miami Dolphins? How many straight games they've lost when
cold weather or something insane
freezing or something? I saw it when they were.
The Bucks had one back in the day. Remember that?
Yeah. But just when they were just playing at Green Bay, like the stat was crazy. How many games in a row they've lost? I forget what it was, but. Anyway, sorry to cut you off.
No, we got the MAC championship, which the MAC, you would think these awesome environments, snow, rain. I watched like 3 snow games in the MAC last week. And then they say, hey, let's not be the MAC and have a MAC championship in fucking filthy Ford Field. MAC, call 1-800-PICK Dundee. You need to be playing this at Soldier, at Lambeau, at Arrowhead, at fucking what's the Tom Benson there in Canton, Ohio,
or maybe just not even do a neutral site.
Yes, yeah. I mean, what are they doing? No one's going to be at this game. Normally, I would get excited to watch this, but it's like, honestly, there's a bunch of other games on. I want to see Ohio. That's the thing. Ohio hasn't won a championship since the 60s. They've been a great program over the past 20 years.
Championship since the 60s.
They've choked.
Really?
They've choked. Solich choked. They got there. This is the Battle of the Bricks. Great rivalry. Ohio, Miami. Ohio, Miami's laying 2.5. I think this is the year. Parker Navarro, Ohio. I think Miami won the national MAC championship a year ago. I think that Ohio's ripe for the upset before Tim Albin skips town to West Lafayette. NC Nick.
We'll see about that. But as much as I hope you're right, because I am, Ohio is my MAC school. I've been telling you guys for 4 or 5 weeks now, the best team in the MAC is Miami of Ohio. They've won now 7 straight. I get it that Ohio has won 5 straight, but their last loss was in Oxford against Miami when they lost 30-20. I think this comes down to experience. I mean, Miami of Ohio was there last year. They lost last year, right? Did they lose to Toledo last year in the MAC championship?
No, they won. They upset.
They won. Okay,
yeah.
But so they're comfortable playing in this game. They brought back a lot of experience. They're loaded with upperclassmen. 19 of 22 starters coming into the year were upperclassmen for Miami of Ohio. The opposite is true for Ohio, who was kind of going with a forced youth movement after everybody transferred out. So I kind of feel like Ohio is just happy to be there because they weren't expected to be here. Miami has been there for 2 years now. They know what to expect. They know the stage. It's a business trip for them. They go in, they take care of business. I'll lock up the Red Hawks.
He's gonna eat shit on this because no one's picking Ohio, and that's perfect for Tim Albin and company. NC Nick locking up the Redskins of Miami. Patty, what are you doing here?
Ohio, a much more balanced team. 63 offense, 50 defense, whereas Miami, Ohio, 93 offense, 20 defense. So really reliant on that defense to produce. In a dome, does a defensive team have an advantage? I would think not. I would think a more offensively oriented team might have a slight advantage. So I will go Bobcats here. Give me Ohio.
Let's go. I'm with you, buddy. Moving along. At that same very time, Iowa State and Arizona State at Filthy Jury's World. You got the Cotton Bowl like fucking 10 miles up the road. One of the best stadiums in the history of the fucking sport of football. You can't tell the history of the sport without the Cotton Bowl, whether it's the Dallas Cowboys teams, fucking Bob Lilly, NC Nick. All right. Or whether it's obviously, how many countless college football games are played there. And you're playing this bullshit dome, corporate American bullshit, just bullshit. Iowa State is catching 2 against Arizona State. Jordan Tyson is out for the season. Their star wideout got dinged up in the Wildcat game. And that's enough for me because I actually was going to take Iowa State anyway. I think Iowa State's got the better defense. I think Iowa State's roster has been to the Big 12 championship. A lot of them. They were there 2 years ago when they lost to Oklahoma. And I think this is a revenge spot. Playoff on the mind. I'm all over these Cyclones. I will take them. Money line. Lock it up. Matt Campbell is going to be, hopefully he's not Ohio State's next head coach, but I already hear the chatter out there about it. Mount Union guy from Ohio. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Well, I did think this one was tough, but I don't think we can underestimate the loss of Jordan Tyson. He was the wide receiver 1, and he had 40 more catches than the next guy on the Arizona State roster, who happens to be Cam Scadaboo. The next receiver who now has to come up and be wide receiver 1 is Xavier Gullivery with just 17 catches for less than 300 yards. So Iowa State has actually kind of struggled to stop the run this season, kind of surprisingly. But if they don't have to worry about the passing attack, and Arizona State wasn't like a big aired out passing attack to begin with, but if they're lacking weapons on the outside, Iowa State can load the box and they can slow down Levitt and Scadaboo in the ground game. And that is enough for me to go Iowa State here. Go Cyclones.
Yeah. Clone up. All right. That's what the kids are saying. Patty C, what are you doing here?
In Jerry's world, I want to I feel like that favors Arizona State's style of football. I mean, if you're talking about familiarity with a, what would you? I guess the Dome isn't that similar to the desert, but it's more similar to the desert than Northern or wherever Ames, Iowa. So they're on a pretty hot streak here with 5 in a row, 3 in a row for Iowa State. So both teams are playing well right now. They're kind of mirror images of each other. Arizona State 6 spots higher on offense, 38 versus Iowa State's 44. But Iowa State 6 spots higher on defense, 31 versus Arizona State's 37. So both these teams very close. Arizona State, I just think, in what I consider a little bit of a home field advantage, just based on the environment, I'm going to go Devils. Plus, they've been a little hotter lately.
I don't know. If anything, I think the more ground and pound team is Arizona State, and Iowa State is passing the ball more. I think Rocco Becht and those 2 receivers have been slinging the rock more this year. So I don't know if the Dome necessarily favors either team, but I definitely don't think it necessarily favors Arizona State.
It typically favors a pass team. You're right. So still, I just feel like Arizona State's a little hotter right now, but I don't have a great feel for this. I could easily see Iowa State winning this game.
I like the fact that Iowa State's got a slew of guys that were there in the last time they went to Jerry's World and lost to Oklahoma in overtime. So I think Iowa State Arizona State hasn't had the target on the back. Iowa State's been in this spot and they failed. It's a great opportunity for them to get past that. That's the angle for me. At the same time, guys, you thought you were going to leave California, Pennsylvania, NC Nick. They are hosting Slippery Rock. This is a rivalry game, but this is a big time game in the D2 playoffs. You don't always see it in the D2 playoffs. You might remember Perry Kemp, the old wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers in the 80s, NC Nick. He is a California, Pennsylvania graduate.
I do recall him.
I'm
sure he's donating to their NIL collective with this big ass,
we have Indiana University of Pennsylvania and California University of Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Get your own fucking state.
This game going on at the same time, I do find this more entertaining than the MAC championship, mainly because it's outdoors, but also because this is a rivalry game that goes back to 1905. Slippery Rock is in Pennsylvania, by the way. It's not Arkansas.
I was going to say.
Yeah, Slippery Rock, California, PA, NC Nick. There's no line on this thing, but maybe someone wants to meet you on cut. Where are you going here? Are you going with California, PA, with this fire ass logo? Looks like it's fucking William Wallace or something here. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, these two schools are pretty damn close. They're only about 90 miles apart. So California, Pennsylvania is about 30 miles south of Pittsburgh, where Slippery Rock is about an hour north of Pittsburgh. So I like to fade California, regardless of East Coast or West Coast California. Get me Slippery Rock.
They're trying to outlaw tackle football in California. I wonder if that's same for in Pennsylvania, right?
Maybe.
Patty C, are you on board with Slippery Rock being a little slippery underdog on the road there in California, Pennsylvania?
Well, I got a nice little tuck job for you. Okay. California State lost the PSAC championship game to Kutztown by 7.
Andre Reed's alma mater.
Out of Kutztown. And then just this past week, I want to say, what was that? A week later, Slippery Rock beats Kutztown.
Did you see how they won?
Round.
Did you see how they won?
No, I didn't see how they won because
that was Sports Center
Okay.
Sports Center top play of the week.
Was it really?
Yeah, they did the hook and ladder, man. They won on a 2-point conversion hook and ladder. And I want to say it was deflected, if memory serves me correct. But yeah, you missed out because that was a national story. You sandbagging son of a bitch trying to throw Slippery Rock under the bus. All right. Look, I'm gonna fade you guys. All right. Look at this dude with the sledgehammer. All right. You gonna tell that guy no? California, PA they're not a gimmick. Slippery Rock with their little trick plays. Who do they think they are? Chris Peterson over there. They're gonna get it done at home in the D2 playoffs at the same exact time as the MAC championship. There's better options on the ESPN Plus. Get on over there. Oh, we also have
just call California, PA Kappa.
Yeah.
Kappa U. Like
How about this game? I don't know if you guys
caught a nickname at all, but yes, okay.
So Harding last week the same time this is going on in Big Rapids, Michigan. NC Nick, I'm sure he's done a few Jaeger bombs there. Harding.
Big Rapids doesn't sound familiar, actually.
You have to pull out the old atlas.
I've been to Grand Rapids.
Yeah. Well, Harding runs the triple option, and they're awesome. They went to Grand Valley State. Brian Kelly's family used to coach there. Brian Kelly and his family, and it was in a blizzard last week, and they beat the shit out of Grand Valley State. Meanwhile, Ferris State was taking on Central Oklahoma, or I think it was Central Oklahoma, one of the Oklahoma schools. Ferris State almost scored 80 points. They scored 78 points. Both games were in the snow. So Harding looking to do the Michigan two-step and sweep both the Michigan schools. Patty C, I know you're high on Ferris State. They grab these lacrosse players to throw them at the quarterback spot.
Ferris State curious. They're in is it Maryland?
D2. No, both are in
Big Rapids.
Big Rapids, Michigan.
Big Rapids.
Harding is in Arkansas.
Harding has whooped a lot of teams' asses.
Dude, they run the triple. They won the triple. They're a fun watch.
Listen to this series of games in a row. To start their season, 59-0, 59-7, 63-3, 66-0, 57-3, 62-0. This team's a damn juggernaut. Give me Harding.
I'm with you. With Tanya Harding, say what you want about her. She did what she did what she had to do to win. All right.
Or Tanya Harding or Ferris Bueller.
I will say
Harding
Ferris
to win that fight.
Ferris. I'll take.
he is resourceful though.
That is true. But his little friend Cam, he's not doing anything. He's gonna sit back and watch. His best friend get blasted in the face. He's not doing nothing. All right. Even that principal, that petty.
Well,
Harding all day. Nick, what are you doing here?
When I brought up Big Rapids, Michigan, the thing that comes up in the city of the town of Big Rapids is the Jim Crow Museum of Racist Imagery.
What?
Interesting.
Hey, you want to go see how terrible humanity is? Check this out.
But I'm down with Big Rapids. I got to go with the mitten. I got family up that way. Let's go Ferris State.
You gotta now. You gotta. Someone's gonna say you got family up by the racist museum. You gotta watch how you jumble these things together, buddy.
You would never think that Michigan of all places would be so racist, but isn't Kid Rock from like upstate Michigan?
He's from Detroit. He's from Detroit.
Yeah. Oh, he's from Detroit.
Michigan's a little bit weird. I've seen Confederate flags in Michigan, and you're like, what?
That's weird. Yeah.
Like, huh?
That's why they do that thing. Have you ever seen Michigan people meet Michigan people? Noah met Derek Stevens, the owner of Circa, and they're like, "Where are you at in the mitten?" And it's like, "Are you at the Confederate part of the mitten? Are you at the? Are you by the racist museum? All right, you check that out. It's a great time there." No, Ferris State is their uniforms are fire, and this game I really am excited to watch. We also have this game going on at the same very time. Mike Leach started the air raid offense at Iowa Wesleyan and then took it to Valdosta State, where they got the name air raid because people would shoot off their air horns. They were scoring so many touchdowns that it became obnoxious to the team that was losing. Right? Well, Virginia Union, Charles Oakley's alma mater. That's a guy that. I'm just going to go ahead and say if we had an NBA Royal Rumble, I think Charles Oakley would beat any of the current players in the NBA's ass. Virginia Union, though, this is their first time ever this far, Patty C. So representing the state of Virginia much better than James Madison.
How do they have? There's a Virginia Union is located in Richmond. How do they have a football team, but VCU does?
Yeah, absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. But Virginia Union going into Valdosta, Georgia.
You guys know Duriel?
Yes.
The star tailback for our school. He ended up going to Virginia Union. So on that alone, I gotta be rooting for Virginia Union. What are they? The Panthers?
Yeah, Panthers going down there to take on Valdosta. What is Valdosta State's nickname again?
I forget, but I just booked a trip to the Key West where I'll be visiting Mike Leach's bar. So, therefore, I feel like I have to go to Valdosta.
There you go. Valdosta State. They are the Blazers. NC Nick used to drive a Blazer all around town.
I used to drive a Blazer. That old 86 Chevy Blazer was fire.
Smelled like Sam Perkins' house. All right. But,
Valdosta State 11-0. Maybe not the best team to fade. Virginia Union, though, what are they sitting at? 10-3.
Can we talk about Hauck's talking about Kerwin Bell? One of his stops was Valdosta. Well, same with Kirby Smart. So watch out, Valdosta. We got Mike Leach, Hal Mummy.
It's a breeding
You
ground.
got some football royalty. You got some football royalty down there in Valdosta. I'm going to ride Valdosta. Good luck with your Union there in Virginia and Patty C. At that same very time, whoa! You thought we're out of this? No, DePaul, the other DePaul, the one that actually plays football, not those pussies in Chicago. They're heading to Baltimore to take on John Hopkins, right? Nothing like bunch of doctors playing football, right?
Not John Hopkins.
First ever matchup.
Multiple Johns Hopkins.
Hopkins.
Oh yeah,
It's not just one John.
I might have fucked this up. Johns Hopkins. All right.
It's okay.
It's not pretentious enough if it's just John Hopkins. It has to be Johns Hopkins.
I actually went to a Johns Hopkins football game before. Have you guys?
No.
You guys
have
haven't
a very
lived.
good, lacrosse team.
Yes,
True.
an elite lacrosse team.
So who you guys got here? You got these Bengals going in and taking down these Bluebirds, or what?
Yeah, DePaul.
Not so fast. You don't just walk into Baltimore, Maryland, and get that dub. Give me Johns Hopkins. Patty C, what are you doing here?
DePaul is sitting at 11-0. I like the play on words they did with the tiger and being DePaul. So give me DePaul.
He's always hating Maryland. He's always hating Maryland. We're talking college football.
It should be plural like John's. It should be DePaul's then, right?
Yeah, DePaul's. It's like depends, right? How about this one? Same time, Randolph-Macon heading to Salisbury, Maryland to take on the Seagulls.
I went on recruiting trips to both these places.
Wait, you're telling me you've been to the Birdcage, aka Seagull Stadium?
I have. My Brad played there. Our buddy.
Dude, well, long live the Birdcage and Seagull Stadium.
Jamie Monk, Art Monk's son, played there.
There we go. And Randolph-Macon down there in Ashland, Virginia, right off 95. NC Nick,
right by Richmond again. VCU. Come on.
I know you're all mixed up. NC Nick, who you going with here? You going with the Birdcage?
Going Salisbury. I mean, it's tough to get once you get on that eastern shore of Maryland. It's like a different universe. I don't know if they're ready for it up there. And also, it gets crazy weather up there too. This weather could be tricky. Pull up Salisbury, Maryland.
Is that weather that Randolph-Macon's not going to be used to?
Dude, the eastern shore of Maryland gets some crazy weather. It does.
I'm from that area.
No, you're not. You're not from the eastern shore,
dude. Ocean City is like an hour from Northern Virginia.
How many times have you been to Ocean City?
A few. 3, 4.
Yeah, and it was in July. Look, the weather, by the way, for Saturday, high of 40. So
Randolph-Macon's never seen 40-degree weather.
What's Ashland, Virginia? What's Ashland, Virginia right now?
I don't fucking know.
That doesn't matter.
I'm going Salisbury because when I went on my recruiting trip,
it's 43. It's 43.
Randolph-Macon, half their weight room was covered in cloth and dust, and they just made no effort to actually recruit. So it's a poverty program. We're gonna go Salisbury here.
I'm all over. You don't just go into the Birdcage and get a dub. So give me the Seagulls at the Nest. We got a Sun Belt Championship game going on. We talked about Charles Huff potentially taking the Southern Miss job. His team, his Thunder and Herd, are catching 5.5 at the original Swamp against the Raging Cajuns. NC Nick, you used to be our Sun Belt specialist before all your picks in the Sun Belt started going terrible.
Since when?
I think Marshall's is going to win this on the money line because I think Charles Huff's a player's coach, played fullback back in the day at Hampton. I think they know that that's fucked up at what they've done to him. I think they're going to win the Sun Belt Championship, and he's going to leave for Southern Miss.
Win one for the Gipper, huh?
Oh yeah, lock up Marshall down there against these Raging Cajuns. What are you doing here, NC Nick?
Here's what I don't like. This is Marshall's third straight road game. So they edged out ODU in Norfolk, 42-35. Then the double overtime JMU win, and now they have to travel down to Louisiana. Third straight road trip. Fade that. Give me the Raging Cajuns. Lock it up.
You ever had alligator, NC Nick?
I've had gator tail. Yes.
It's
it's like a funkier calamari. I'm not a big fan.
Really? I thought I from my alligator eating days, it tasted like chicken to me. But I didn't have gator tail. All right, I had the heart. All right, so Patty C, you had gator before?
I've never had gator. You guys are a little more gangster than I am. Let me say this about both of these teams. Really impressive regular season records. Marshall's only other losses outside of a 1-point loss against who was it? Georgia Southern on the road,
and they blew an 18-point lead in the fourth in that game.
Yeah, that's understandable. Aside from that, a Virginia Tech game on the road, but I thought they were in that game for a lot of it, and then they got housed by Ohio State on the road. Okay, whatever. But then Louisiana only lost by 2 against South Alabama. Other than that, an 8-point loss against Tulane. Both these teams are actually pretty good. That said, even giving 5.5, I think I still got the Cajuns here.
What logo's better?
Marshall.
No, I disagree. That Raging Cajun, look at that. That's like an emblem, man. That's
the Fleur de Lis is amazing.
Yeah. And then the Raging Cajuns. There's not a better name in America.
The Colby College White Mules. The Colby College White Mules, I think, are one of the ones that deserve to be in there. Look, you thought we're out of this. No, we got the NAIA championship or the playoff going on. Georgetown, Kentucky, the Bengals. Not only are
he just indulges himself on this episode every year.
Yeah, and they're heading to Kaiser Permanente University in West Palm Beach, right, to take on the Seahawks. Look, I think this is a bridge too far for Georgetown, Kentucky, NC Nick. I think Kaiser down there in West Palm Beach, I feel like that's originally where Hulk Hogan's from. At least on the back of the card back in the day. I think Kaiser's going to put it on these guys. These little Kentucky guys aren't going to be able to handle West Palm Beach. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I don't know. West Palm Beach doesn't sound that tough to me. I think you're going to have the better line play in Kentucky. I'm going to go Georgetown.
Patty C, you go with the Seahawks, you go with these Bengals.
Well, I've watched a lot of both of these teams this year, so let me give you the in-depth analysis here. They did lose to Montana Tech, a renowned high-tech powerhouse.
Wait! You mentioned that. You know who used to coach Montana Tech, right?
Who's that?
Like a hobo on a ham sandwich.
Yeah, this guy.
It's kind of like watching your mother-in-law go off a cliff in a Cadillac. You got mixed feelings.
So don't Montana Tech slander on this podcast.
True. I'll give Georgetown a little leeway based on that. But look, 10-0 for who's the other fucking team? The Seahawks.
I thought you watched them a lot.
Oh yeah, the Kaiser Seahawks 10-0. How many more of these do we have to do?
We got a lot, buddy. So you buckle up and you get through it. Write it. Who are you taking?
I'm taking Kaiser.
Yeah, I'm with Kaiser too. Springfield is heading to Cortland, New York.
All right. Now we're talking high school, right? Come on.
Isn't this The Simpsons?
These aren't colleges anymore. Get out of here.
Springfield is taking on Cortland. Cortland, New York's going to be look. This goes back to the 90s, NC Nick.
Is it Springfield, Mass?
Yeah, you were once a Dranesville Dragon. Any chance you're going to continue to take the Cortland Dragons against Springfield? Yeah, I think so. I'm with you too. Give me Cortland as well. Patty C, what are you doing here?
The whole SUNY, vibe is amazing. Look, this team has been housing teams all year long. 76-0, 70-7, 41-0. Dude, Cortland has got to be the best team in whatever we're talking about at this point. Give me Cortland.
The best team in the Northeast. NC Nick is a noted Northeast hater, but he hasn't talked about the D2 or D3 ranks.
Only in FBS. Only in FBS.
All right, well, look, let's go to FCS because Rhode Island.
God, this is looking like
a little bit better.
Rhode Island is heading to Macon, Georgia, take on these Mercer Bears. First ever matchup. Mercer's laying 10.5. I kind of think Rhode Island's a little phony. I'm going to lay the 10.5 with Mercer. They've been playing good ball out of the SoCon. I know NC Nick gonna pepper this. He's gonna say SoCon better than the. I used to like the CAA, but then they changed their name from the Colonial Athletic to the Coastal, and the teams instantly got softer. Give me Mercer to get it done. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I could see why you would go that direction. I mean, Mercer does have 8 double-digit wins this year, so they are capable of covering large spreads. But I think Rhode Island keeps this game close. Clemson transfer Hunter Helms at quarterback, at the helm of the offense, if you will, for Rhode Island. I think it's close.
He's going to take them to Helm Street.
Ram it.
Let's go. He's all over.
It's going to be a nightmare on Helm Street.
Patty C, you always preferred Lawnmower Man. What are you doing here?
You're getting really obscure over there.
You never saw Lawnmower Man?
I saw it. I don't think half the audience has ever heard of it, but
this is a very niche episode. People are either going to love this.
I just talked Kentucky or Georgetown, Kentucky. You think I give a shit about the audience?
No, I'm pretty sure you don't anymore.
Yeah.
Who are you taking
Certain
here?
of that. Look, Mercer, their only loss to one of their only losses to Alabama. That's actually a nice little feather in Alabama's cap as far as finally challenging themselves to a pretty good FCS. I mean, let's give credit where it's due.
That was a beautiful accident. Beautiful accident. Yeah.
Ward?
Did you buy Ward Manuel's shrimp cocktail tonight?
Well, look, as much as I love the real Blue Devils, I think I got to lean Mercer here. Oh, wait, no, Rhode Island is the Rams. Wait, Rhode Island, but they did barely beat the only the true
real Blue Devils
last week. In Central Connecticut. Yep.
Leaky's in the chat. He says Mercer, let's go.
I always hate Mercer since they beat Duke in the NCAA tournament too. So
yeah. That's fair. That's fair. At that same very time, Howie Long's alma mater, the Villanova Wildcats, are heading into San Antonio, Texas. Take on these Incarnate Word. Cam Ward once used to light it up for Incarnate Word before he sold his soul. went to Wazoo and then Miami.
Smart move.
Yeah. Became a millionaire, you fucking asshole. You could have been playing here at Tom Benson Field in San Antonio against the Villanova Wildcats. iDubbbz laying 7.
Was the owner of the Saints, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right.
iDubbbz laying 7. NC Nick. Does that mean you're buying into the Benson magic of their home stadium?
Yes. I mean, iDubbbz has won 9 in a row. And even though Villanova beat Eastern Kentucky 22-17 in round 1 last week, they were down 14-0 to start that game. Questionable call in that game.
I'll
take your word for it, but I'd argue that they didn't look very good. So give me iDubbbz.
Patty C, I know JMU's taken a few, beat downs from Villanova over the course of.
Those are in the past. Villanova is in the rearview mirror. Sorry, Villanova fun. Incarnate Word all day. Villanova just squeaked by an 8-5 team. Give me Incarnate Word.
I think I'm with you. iDubbbz going to roll down there in Texas. Weehawk saying Incarnate Word by 14 plus. There we go. Next up. Oh my God. We got a classic.
Here's a heater.
A rematch of last year's national championship. Series goes back to 1969. Montana heading to Brookings, South Dakota. The line is 22 points. What? They just phone this one in, look at last year's Natty, and just say, hey, Logan Fife is the quarterback for Montana, the former Fresno State quarterback.
Didn't exactly light it up last week, did he? What do you have, like 79 passing yards?
That's the like elements. That. You're in the elements.
14-2 touchdown ratio this season. He's a game manager, and you limit turnovers, you're going to cover. But we're not going to need the cover here because, as I told you guys last week, Montana plus 900 is going to win on the money line.
And look, last year's Natty, back when Montana started Clifton McDowell, they got the Big Mac. We got the Big Mick. Was 23-20, or sorry, 23-3, right? 23-3. I do like Montana's spot here at the Dyke House. Patty C, you've always wanted to go to the Dyke House. Tell me.
Dreamed of the Dyke House my whole life. We're going Montana here to cover 22. It's ridiculous.
Lock.
Yeah.
Lock. All right, folks. What to tell you? Want to tell you that first, you are listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Look, you got to download the SGPN app. It's fantastic. It's completely free, and you can have easy access to all of our shows and all of our picks pages and all of our articles that we write. It's free wherever you get your apps. Google Play Store, App Store, Apple Store, whatever, iTunes, whatever the fuck. You got it all. Just get on over there, type in SGPN, hit that download button, and then remember, as always, to let it ride. All right, we are back. We are talking so far. NC Nick, what's the game non-FBS that you want to watch most? Is it this one right here, or is it some of these? Dude, I'll be honest. That Harding Ferris State game, both those teams have been nasty over the past couple of years. That's a fucking awesome game, but this one is fire too.
Ferris State I've heard of, which means they're on the D2 level, right?
Yeah.
So
Harding was nasty last year too, man. Ever since and they're running the triple option, it's been a pain in the ass for the whole subdivision.
Right, but I love Montana and Dakota FCS football. That's where the heart of FCS football is, and I think this game could be fantastic and much closer than the spread.
Brookings, South Dakota weather right now.
Doesn't matter. These guys are used to it. It's not like
it's true. It's like a sunny day. Right? Yeah. You're like, oh, it's 37. This is no problem. Yeah. It was a hot 37 degree afternoon. We got the SWAC Championship. The winner goes to the Celebration Bowl. Southern is heading into one of the best stadiums, one of the most historic stadiums in college football. Archie Manning. A lot of big time Ole Miss, Mississippi State Egg Bowl games happened at the Vet in Jackson, Mississippi, where Deion Sanders used to coach, where Travis Hunter used to play. One of the better stadiums. I'm telling you, this stadium's fantastic if you do a deep dive on it. Southern at Jackson State. Winner goes to the Celebration Bowl. This is a rivalry that goes back to 1929. Jackson State's laying 15. NC Nick, is that too much for a rivalry game? Because I think it is.
I think so. Yeah. Especially, Southern just knocked off Grambling last week, right?
Yeah.
So, I think it's way too many points. Maybe Jackson State wins, but not by more than 2 touchdowns.
TC Taylor doing a good job with Jackson State, but I think it's just too many points for a historic rivalry. Patty C, you need to give us a tuck job there at the Vet in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah, I got to agree with you. It's too many points, but Kendrick Rhymes, leading running back from Houston for Southern. Any potential relationship to Busta Rhymes? I'd like to know that.
Busta Rhymes the rapper, or Busta Rhymes the quarterback from Oklahoma who the rapper named himself after?
That's true. Where was Busta the rapper from? He was
from New York City. He was part of the group Leaders of the New School.
Unlikely that a Houston running back is his offspring, but
no. I actually heard a story about how he named it after the Oklahoma quarterback.
Well, no, I'm just saying.
That's not his actual name.
Yeah.
Either way, a lot of probably residual talent.
Old Dirty Bastard wasn't named Old Dirty Bastard, right? I don't think so, but I just want to confirm that I want you to know
that's not what his mom named him.
I never know these days. There was what was that thing I put on Twitter? His name was it what? Thailand Jones or something?
Yeah, Thailand Jones, I think it was.
DB for Ball State.
Yeah, that's a great name. Great name. So maybe Old Dirty Bastard really is Old Dirty Bastard. Rest in peace. You Patty C, what are you doing here with these points?
I'm just curious as to how many of those residual primetime players. He only left 2 years ago, and he recruited his ass off. Some of those guys had to stay. So maybe Jacksonville State has a huge talent advantage because they did when he left. But I think that's just too many points. So give me Southern.
I'm with you. We got to sweep on the Jaguars of Southern. Mount Union. This is a historic rivalry. Take it on Carnegie Mellon. Milan? How do I say this?
Mellon.
Yeah. Am I supposed to have heard of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're previewing it, so I guess so.
Well, Carnegie Mellon, that's famous. It's old. It's like, very hoity-toity. Yeah. Carnegie Mellon is it's been around.
Bougie. Yeah.
Sorry, I've been smoking doobies in LA for the past 20 years. Mount Union is taking on Carnegie Mellon, and they got their nicknames, the fucking Scotty Dogs, as they're taking on the Raiders. So this is a historic rivalry back to 1907, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That is football. NC Nick, why is it that Mount Union's on the road? Because Carnegie Mellon has been.
Is the game in Italy?
Carnegie Mellon has been the better team this year, and these Scotty Dogs got a little more bite than their bark. They're going to get it done against these Raiders of Mount Union. Am I right?
No, I want to go with the more blue collar school. I'm going to go Mount Union. Evan, the reporter, he says Rich Rod has agreed in principle to return to WVU. Who knows if that's true or not?
It is.
Yeah.
But
Evan, the reporter, have you actually done reporting before? Or are you
just trying to make a name for yourself out there?
3 whiskeys deep, just saying, hey, we got a deal going on here.
Did you see it on the internet?
Let me tell you what. Mount Union 11-0, Carnegie Mellon 10-1, but both these teams have completely dominated most of their competition. So I don't know what to tell you. Carnegie Mellon, that game that they're the home team in Pittsburgh.
They're the higher ranked team. They were better all year. Carnegie Mellon has been
kicking
they
weren't
ass.
Because they have the worst record. You can't be much better than undefeated Mount Union. I'm going with the blue blood.
Wait, you're telling me D3's got their own ward manual?
That's right.
Spinning bullshit.
That's right. Somehow the 10-1 team is ranked higher than the 11-0 team. So.
If one of these schools was part of the Illuminati, which I know you guys like to talk about on the main show, it's definitely Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
I mean, Colby, have you heard of Andrew Carnegie, the founder, like the big time industrialist? Like,
no, I fell asleep. I fell asleep with that
richest people, like in the early 1900s. No,
maybe. I don't know.
Captain
I've deleted
of industry.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some skull and crossbone shit.
The original Captain America. Yeah, I feel good about the Scotty Dogs here. Next up, how do I pronounce this one? Bemidji State is taking on the Mavericks of Minnesota State in Mankato, Minnesota. Who has not had a good time in Mankato? This is a rivalry game that goes back to 1933. I mean, you going with these Beavs? Land of 10,000 lakes. You got, I don't know how much beavers like lakes. I think they like rivers, but these Mavericks, skull and bones, you talk. I just got to take.
I am not fading Bemidji State. Not a chance.
Are you guys pronouncing that right? I think it's Bemidji.
Yeah, Bemidji sounds better to me. Let's run with Bemidji. Look,
I feel like that was in like an episode of what's that show that took place up in Minnesota? Fargo?
Nobody. It probably was. Bemidji, right?
Something like that. Who knows?
We're testing our audience's willingness to listen to us.
Listen to you, stupid ass. Dude. They've listened to you 15 fucking beers deep. All right, they can listen to us talk about the goddamn Minnesota State Mavericks. All right,
fish as it is Bemidji. So you gotta trust a guy named after a McDonald's sandwich.
Facts.
Yeah, and that's real fish too. Look, Mankato, Minnesota is a tough place to go into. And look, I love the history of this. These teams have been battling against one another since 1933. And you think these Mavericks don't have this one circled when Bemidji's got to come into their turf?
Wait,
with the championship on the line?
Wasn't Minnesota State the team coach? What was his name? Craig?
Might have been Craig T. Nelson, buddy.
Craig T. Nelson coached the Mavericks.
Don't forget the T. State. Don't forget the fucking T.
I am not fading Craig T. Nelson.
No, that show was overrated. Give me Bemidji.
Yeah, I'm riding these Mavericks.
I always thought like it was gonna be like a football show, and they hardly talked about it in football.
And look, Christine, his wife, she gave me a hard on pretty much every episode as a 6-year-old. So screw you.
Well, look, I mean, you're getting ahead of yourself if you think you're gonna walk into Blakesley Stadium in Mankato, Mankato, Minnesota, and get that dub. Let's jump over to. I mean, I'm. And by the way, we're counting all these. Next week, we're going to talk a lot of shit. You got Bethel, Minnesota, heading to Waverly, Iowa. Take on Wartburg. Wartburg last year we caught a few Wartburg games last year.
I remember talking about these teams.
Yeah, Bethel, Minnesota. Tough spot. Go on the road. Take on Wartburg. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I want to go Wartburg here. I'm tired of talking about Minnesota teams.
Yeah, and Waltz and Hoover Stadium, they normally protect it pretty well. So I'm with you. I think Wartburg's going to roll by a lot. Patty C, what are you doing here?
I'm trying to get Wartburg's resume pulled up here. But
what logo's better, Nick?
I like the W. Yeah. Do you guys
Bethel's
know?
Just phoning it in over there. Like we'll just take Baylor's and change the colors.
We use very plain. Do you know Carnegie Technical Institute, which is now Carnegie Mellon, beat Notre Dame 19-0 in 1926 with Newt Rockne, the head coach of the Irish.
Damn. Carnegie, that's like Georgetown University played in like what, the Sugar Bowl or something?
Georgetown, Kentucky, huh?
No, Georgetown, the Hoyas played in, I want to say the Sugar Bowl or the Cotton Bowl, one of the first few years it came out, and then fell off the map. So Carnegie Mellon is like a retired blue blood. Apparently they beat prime Notre Dame.
Ted Danson went there.
He went to Wartburg? He went to Wartburg?
No, Carnegie Mellon. I'm switching over to Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah, you can't fade Becker. All right. Look, Weehawk, his dad played college football and baseball against Wartburg. Look, and that's what I'm talking about. All these games are on ESPN Plus. And let me tell you, they're better than any NFL game you've watched in the past 30 years. All right. So
let me tell you about Bethel. Bethel started their season 43-0, 59-0, 73-8, 70-0, and 56-7. So 3 points per game over the first 5 games for their opponents, about 65 for them. I'm not betting against Bethel.
These Minnesota teams are really loading up. Yeah. Continuing on, North Central played for the championship a couple years ago. They're heading into Hope. NC Nick, Holland, Michigan. Have you been to Holland, Michigan? Because Hope,
yes, I have. A couple good brewers there. New Holland Brewing in Holland, Michigan. Yeah.
They say hope's a good thing, and no good things ever die. So does that mean you're taking these? What are they? The Miners or the Mariners?
In Ohio. North Central's in Ohio, right?
No, Chicago, I believe. I believe it's Chicago. Yeah.
I think North Central sounds tougher.
Yeah, they've been. Hope's had a better season thus far. Patty C, you got a tuck job for us here. What are you doing?
I don't have enough data to pull a tuck job right now. I'll say this. Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, like you said. So I got to roll with Hope over another generic Cardinals logo in North Central.
I'm taking North Central. I think they're legit. They get it done. NC Nick,
is the next game going to be Sewantaneo?
Perhaps, because it's Susquehanna against St. John's, Minnesota, in Collegeville, Minnesota. Where is this place? I got to get myself over to Collegeville, Minnesota. Susquehanna is the dog on the road at St. John's, Minnesota. This is where I think the rubber meets the road. Susquehanna is gonna.
Is that a river?
Is gonna hit the road and take down this phony. Look at this. You're phoning it in on the logos here, St. John's. This is bullshit. This is like you took Loyola Marymount's font. You just said, put an SJU there. Susquehanna
is out of Pennsylvania. Okay, so Pennsylvania versus Minnesota.
It is a river. Is it one of the 3 rivers that went by Three River Stadium?
Is it? Nice poll.
Good
God, look at the big brains on
Monongahela. It might be the Susquehanna. Ohio River, Monongahela, and there's one other. It might be the Susquehanna. I don't know.
Very impressive. Very impressive.
Look. That's a cooler logo. How much? I will say this: how much of we're not seeing a ton of teams from down south here. It is cool to see all these lower level teams playing football still up north. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and we got to get to Collegeville, Minnesota, guys. We're going for a game. All right. Next up, Benedictine is heading to Indiana Wesleyan in Marion, Indiana. NC Nick, this is a rivalry that goes back 2 years. I mean, they said is Benedict Arnold's full name Benedictine Arnold? Because
we know Tim Colby's going.
It's speaking to me over here with that Red Sox B. Benedictine is live in Marion, Indiana. Look, and that's why I don't understand all these Hoosier fans mad about their seating. Well, who gives a shit? You got the Indiana Wesleyan game going on in Marion, Indiana. NC Nick, who you riding here?
I'm gonna go Benedictine. I think Indiana Wesleyan just sounds like like a far left liberal arts school. No thanks.
Anything Wesleyan.
Benedictine is in Kansas, Hauck. Shout out to that.
Tell those chicks to save their pits and call me.
Save their pits or shave them.
Shave.
Benedictine, the Ravens, 10-2. A nice season so far. Took an early season loss to Grandview, a 2-point loss and a 3. No, they got whooped by Grandview, but only a 1-point loss to Mid-American Nazarene. So since then, they've had an 86-point win against William Woods. I think my money is on Benedictine.
Maybe Texas and Georgia will be next, but we'll see.
Yeah, we're getting to it. We're going chronologically. Northwestern Iowa taking on Grandview, Iowa. Look, the Battle of Iowa. Petty C, you just brought up the great Grandview team that you were referring to just 10 seconds ago. So the floor is yours on Northwestern Iowa, who played for the national championship last year.
I don't care if Northwestern played for the national championship last year. Grandview whooped mighty Benedictine. So give me Grandview.
Hard to fade that mascot too. I agree.
Yeah,
I love how we get a classic regional Iowa game in Des Moines. Take that, Kirk Ferentz. I'm with you. Grandview is going to pull get it done there. UT Martin is
there. We go.
UT Martin heading to Bozeman to take on Montana State. Montana State laying 17.5. It's too many. These Skyhawks. Brent Vegan's interviewing for the Fresno State job. Where's his head at? I can tell you this. I think, I
didn't come here to study. I come here to study. Studying sucks. Studying really sucks.
I think this is a.
I want this pilot. It's a matter of national security.
UT Martin has an FBS win. I know Montana State does too. They stay within the number at 17.5. Nick?
I disagree. 31-10. Montana State Bobcats roll.
Patty C?
Yeah, Montana State, number 1 team in the nation, undefeated. Just beat the number 10 team in the nation by 23, their rival. Meanwhile, UT Martin sitting there at 8-4, number 20 in the nation. Give me Montana State all day long. Like Nick says, the real team in Montana.
Tarleton State. Tarleton State's throwing billions, $100 bajillion million into their football program. They're trying to go to the FBS. First ever FCS playoff trip. Remember, they were D2. They weren't eligible the past couple of years, even though they probably should have been there. Tarleton State's heading to Vermilion, South Dakota. NC Nick, you been to Vermilion?
I've never been to South Dakota in general, so no.
We got to get over there. They got the what was
Sturgis?
That? Yeah, they got Sturgis. They got the what's the
Badlands?
Badlands, yeah. Badlands.
What's the Mount Rushmore? Is that South Dakota?
Yeah, that's South Dakota. Deadwood, really, all that good stuff.
I want to see the Badlands. I want to see Deadwood.
I've been up there.
I want to see Jen Sturgis. No, I'm joking. Look, South Dakota's laying 16.5.
Nice Brett Favre reference there.
Yeah. Give me the Coyotes. I think they're going to welcome to the FCS playoffs. Coyotes, there's something. I know they play in a filthy dome, right? So I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but there's something about South Dakota building up, like the fact that North Dakota State and South Dakota State have been so good. I think South Dakota is starting to invest in their football program, and Bob Nielsen, their head coach, still rocks the tie.
No, well, now we know why Colby's going, but like South Dakota's losses.
We need more coaches. Yeah.
Their losses are at Wisconsin and in overtime to the Jackrabbits. But Tarleton has good losses also. Baylor and to 2 playoff teams at Eastern Kentucky and Abilene Christian. I think it's too many points. Give me Tarleton.
Patty C, what are you doing here?
It is a lot of points. South Dakota just did beat the number 1 team in the nation, North Dakota State, by 1. However, I think the gap is closed between the top of the FCS and like the top 3 or 4 and the next 5 or 6. It used to be like a gulf, and those teams would be, I felt like, guarantees to win it. Not so much anymore. So give me Tarleton. I think you're right. They're catching up.
All right, Abilene Christian with Maverick MacGyver. I heard good news. He was dinged up. He's getting the start as they head into Fargo, North Dakota. North Dakota State, could they be the next team in the Mountain West? We don't know, but North Dakota State laying 24 against a team that took Texas Tech to overtime? No. Give me the points with Abilene Christian, even at that filthy Fargo Dome. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I agree, and I'm buying into what Patty C just said about some of these Texas schools closing the gap a little bit. I mean, the Dakotas, the Montanas still run FCS, but not quite by that as big of a margin as they used to. I'll take the cover here too.
Patty?
Abilene Christian, yeah, like you said, playing great football. A nice shutout in the first round against Northern Arizona. Then again, some questionable losses along the way. The 4 losses. Texas Tech, obviously the most impressive, but Idaho, a 3-point loss. Idaho almost beat Oregon, but then North Alabama and Stephen F. Austin are the ones that are a little tougher to swallow. That's way too many points, though, for North Dakota State in that dome. Give me Abilene Christian to cover that.
Let's go. Next up, Texas.
What have we here?
All right, skip over this one. Let's get back to Division III.
I got to be honest. We already saw this one, so I am a little bored by it. And it's in that filthy Mercedes-Benz Stadium, so I'm even more bored by it. But the series goes back to 1949. It's a shame they're not playing this in Center Park Stadium right up the road. Texas is laying 2.5. No, they got their ass whooped by Georgia the first time. Now you're going to have Georgia's crowd, and you're making Kirby Smart a dog. Have fun with that. Lock Georgia plus 2.5. Just right at the money line. Just right at the money line. NC Nick?
Yeah, I mean, that game where they won pretty easily in Austin, that was Carson Beck also tossed 3 picks that day. So
and remember Kirby Smart's thing. He goes, we won this and we won against the refs.
Yeah. So they want another piece of those Longhorns. And for me, it does come down to, what program, what coach do you trust more? And I like the emergence of that true freshman running back, Nate Frazier, for Georgia. That dude runs hard. He only got 4 carries in the first game, and Georgia didn't do much on the ground. I think they come into this game with more balanced approach offensively, and I think they win again. Lock it up.
Yeah. Let's go. Double lock. Patty C. Can it be a triple lock? Are you going to do a tuck job on these Longhorns? Because I want to hear this tuck job since we have a head-to-head already.
Well, look, what team do you hate more? Let me ask you this.
By far, Texas. Not Georgia. Georgia's not even in the same ballpark as Texas.
Yeah, well, you're playing right into exactly what I'm trying to say here. Could there be a little hatred bias here? I mean, that
did you watch the first game?
I did watch the first game, and yes, Georgia did put it on them.
They dominated.
The fact that was in Austin, and now that this one's in Atlanta, all of that suggests that Georgia will get it done again. However, the rankings and the fact that was Texas's only loss, okay, and they've been playing pretty good since.
They're only good opponent.
Yeah, although Florida, I know Lagway was out, but they still completely annihilated them.
No Mertz, no Lagway, a walk-on freshman
is not
from
the
Yale
only player on the football field.
Shut up. Shut up.
You just can't dismiss the entire
he was their 4th string quarterback starting the season. The 3rd string transferred out.
Okay, maybe you're right. But if Texas wins, then what are you going to say? I can't believe it. Something happened. What? I don't get it. No, it's Texas been playing pretty good football. Can we admit it?
Texas, no, they haven't been. They have not been. Last week was not an impressive performance.
Well,
their offense,
Texas A&M team, and kind of dominated the game control, whatever that would be. But I would think that there wasn't any point in that game where I thought Texas A&M had much of a chance. Outside
the first drive of the game.
Georgia
in the end zone.
Georgia definitely has better wins, hands down.
Yeah. Okay. Here's some other stats. Okay. And I know they go out the window when you consider the head-to-head. Georgia has the number 37 offense in the nation and the number 35 defense in the nation. Texas has the number 3 defense in the nation. And let me get this pulled up real quick. They have the number 14 offense in the nation. So they're way better statistically, both offensively and defensively than Georgia. 20 points higher in both categories.
Well,
I think
but doesn't that I just don't put
maybe one time, and especially Texas, like,
oh, sure. They're capable of winning the game, but like I don't believe the numbers when Texas has played that bad of a schedule and Georgia's played that good of a schedule. I don't think the numbers really hold validity.
Yeah, that's true. Texas, what's their best win? A&M, and then what?
Vanderbilt,
Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan actually, but Michigan in the same way Florida. Yeah,
Michigan got a little bit better as the season progressed. Like that early, Michigan was pretty.
Wasn't Davis Warren the starting quarterback in that game and in the Ohio State game?
No, it was Orgy. It was Orgy, I think, that game.
Either way, both of them got plenty of burn in both of those games.
I'm just saying Michigan got a little bit better as the season progressed. And no, it was Davis Warren in that game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which one did Orgy start? Did he start the next week?
Probably the next one.
Yeah.
Just Texas not going to get housed by Georgia again.
Oh,
the fact that they're favored on the road.
Yeah.
I'll go Georgia with you, but I don't feel great about it at all.
Yeah. Give me Georgia. Like, I don't think a house. I think like 35-13.
That's a housing.
Oh, so it's like the last time Sarkisian has played in the Georgia Bulldogs are a big game. See the Washington game where they never had the lead. All right, next up, Illinois State heading to Davis, California. Tim Plow doing wonders, taking over for Dan Hawkins. UC Davis laying 6.5 against these Redbirds, these pesky Redbirds that went on the road to Cape. How do I pronounce that again in Missouri? Girardeau,
wherever SEMO is. Did you guys see the stat line in the that SEMO put up last game against
not Paxton Lynch, their quarterback? Their quarterback had a hilarious day.
DeLaurent.
Yeah, DeLaurent. Yeah,
Wouldn't it be Cape Girardeau?
Cape Girardeau,
Go Tigers.
That. 85 passing attempts but they had 5 picks Illinois State last week. So maybe a defense full of ball hawks. I don't think you can give them credit for that though. I think anytime a team is throwing 85 passes on you, you should expect a few interceptions.
This is a Big Ten time zone game. Give me UC Davis minus a 6.5. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
I like the quarterback for UCD. Miles Hastings, 3,700 plus yards, 32 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. They just lost to Montana State by 2, like 2 weeks ago. That shows you their ceiling. They can go toe to toe with the best team in the FCS. I think they win and cover this run away.
Patty?
Well, the fact that Illinois State's starting quarterback is Tommy Rittenhouse, any chance that he's related to Kyle Rittenhouse makes me want to go ahead and lean UC Davis in this one. Give me the Aggies.
Built like a brick shit house. Tommy Rittenhouse. Let's go.
He's got a gun, a big gun for an arm.
Linfield is heading to Belton, Texas. Just walk into Belton and take on Mary Hardin Baylor. All right, Mary Hardin Baylor. We talked about them last year, and let me tell you, you don't go to Crusader Stadium and get a dub. All right, Mary Hardin Baylor, big. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, give me Mary Harding Baylor. I think we made fun of their name last year, and that didn't turn out too well for us.
Patty?
Yeah, I believe I recall that as well. I don't know a ton about Linfield here, but Mary Hardin Baylor is Mary Hardin to beat. So give me whatever they are, the Knights.
All right, next up, Morningside's heading to Montana Western. Dillon, you son of a bitch, to quote the great movie Predator. Dillon, Montana. Look, Morningside, these Mustangs, these pesky Mustangs are heading into Montana Western. They think they got something brewing. I watched Montana Western a week ago in the snow. And these boys from Morningside, Iowa, they're not going to be able to handle the cold. It's a different type of cold in Montana. All right. Give me Montana Western to get it done. NC Nick, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I agree.
That's he's the guy in Major League, the co-host.
I got nothing else.
Patty C, you got Montana Western. These Bulldogs that are
aside
all
from
bite.
a 3-point season opening loss to renowned Benedictine, Morningside has won 11 straight, including some absolute throttlings. Their last 3 games, they've outscored their opponents 158-10. So give me the Morningside Mustangs.
Yeah, and the Morningside Mustangs out of Sioux City, Iowa, by the way. He says, but Weehawks say it's cold there. Filet of fish, you can bet these over on Cut. All right. Get on over
bet
to Cut.
Kobe.
K-U-T-T. Next up, Penn State, Oregon. Which one are you looking for more? I personally think the Montana Western with the game in the snow last week, way more intriguing than the filthy Big Ten. You corporate fucking whores playing this game at the worst stadium in all of America. Lucas Oil is garbage. It's a garbage facility. The fucking Indiana Hoosiers basketball team should never play at this goddamn arena. This is a bullshit game with Jim Irsay still burying, is Jim Irsay still burying all of his mistresses? Oh yeah, but Dan Snyder, he's the bad guy. Oregon's laying 4.
He probably is a bad guy too, though.
Oh yeah, Dan Snyder's definitely a piece of shit, but he's a lesser piece of shit than say every other NFL owner that is claiming that Dan Snyder. That's what's so great is when you talk to people. They're like Dan Snyder is the worst. Yeah, every NFL. You see that Jerry Jones was picketing on the wrong side of integration.
Little detail here.
Let's face it. If you're a billionaire, you've done some shady shit on your way to get that high, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Come on.
Yeah,
I mean, you could be like a cool millionaire, but if you're a billionaire,
who are we giving a pass to? Like fucking Mark Cuban?
He's probably done some shit too.
I mean, he probably has, but not to like the Hunt family. We know they blew off JFK's head. Go Chiefs! All right, but we, go Chiefs. Kansas City's great. Love Arrowhead. You could go one by one on this. What's the guy Kroenke that fucking married into Walmart? we could go down a big rabbit hole on that. Guys, I think Penn State's going to win this game. Look, Oregon has played nobody on the road, right? Nobody, right? You look at it, their road trips are at Oregon State in their first 3 games. We're bringing in a goddamn every new coach possible, every new player possible. They destroy Oregon State. Then they went to UCLA to take on UCLA. UCLA has no fans other than Scott Bowser. Then they went to Purdue. Purdue's terrible. And then they went to Michigan. Okay, Michigan, but I still just think Michigan sucks. Ohio State just happened to get in there. That was more about Ohio State than it was about Michigan.
Dude, are you really going to sit here and say Oregon sucks after they've whooped almost every single team on their schedule?
I said their road schedule. Part of the reason why I have a future on Oregon is because their road games were dog shit this year. Wisconsin 5-7. They played one winning team on the road, and that was Michigan, who can't score by themselves on a fucking football field. You go back to the Boise game, Patty. See, Ashton Jeanty kind of went off against them. Penn State.
That was in Oregon, though.
My point, though, is that great running backs, when they play one, have the capability. Penn State's got 2 of them. And I hope, even though Oregon, remember Big Ten Media Days were in Indianapolis. I hope they bring that big ass duck back, sit there on the river. That was awesome. I think Penn State's a better football team. All right, let's go. Penn State in Indianapolis. I think they can. I don't think Oregon's been tested yet, honestly. Like, I think Oregon in Autzen been tested, but how do you find out about a good football team on the, to me, it's on when you hit the road. And even though this isn't a true road game, I think it's just the fact you're away from Autzen against a decent opponent that's actually can throw a forward pass. I think Penn State's live. Give me Penn State money line. Lock it. NC Nick?
I'm not going to go as far as say I think Penn State's a better team, but I just think it's super hard to go undefeated when you're not that much better than other teams that you're playing. I mean, we saw the close wins against Boise, against Ohio State, at Wisconsin. The ball bounced Oregon's way. I mean, look, they capitalized on opportunities. They made enough plays down the stretch. They, some of their opponents fucked up, but they took advantage. They won. more power to them. But when they've played the best of competition, they gave up 34 to Boise. They gave up 31 to Ohio State, which tells me that Duck defense ain't as good as, maybe the stats say. And I go back to who needs the game more, and that is James Franklin and Penn State. So I think it's at least within a field goal, but I think Penn State could win this. And you know what? If you're Oregon, yeah, granted you want to buy, but maybe it's not the worst thing in the world to take an L now and then make a run next week. Or 2 weeks from now.
I took a future in Oregon, but I'm just saying, like, out of anybody in the top 25, I would argue that Oregon has the worst road schedule. I think they're completely untested. I think people's assumption of them is completely, off until we see them. And this doesn't even count, but this one will be the biggest step forward to me, being away from home. Will Penn State have the crowd 60-40 probably? Yeah. But I just want to see Oregon away against like I said, they got UCLA in like the first month of the season, and UCLA is still not a good team even at the last month of the season. Oregon State,
Penn State did.
No, Oregon's road games are fucking all terrible teams, and then Michigan. But Michigan is not a good football team. They're just not.
They're okay. They
can't throw the ball. Dude. They're a one-dimensional team.
4 or 5 points against Indiana, and then beat Ohio State.
Okay, but Fresno State kept it close with them. Fresno State was a 6-6 team. You want to do this for every fucking team? We could do this.
Michigan's not a great football team, but they are good at what they do. They just don't have the extra, thing, the passing.
That's what I'm saying. So Oregon will shut that down. Oregon winning at Wisconsin is solid. See, I don't think Wisconsin's a good football team, fillet of fish. Now, yes, was it a great home environment? Sure. I think Wisconsin is a shitty team. They're 5-7 with their best win being Northwestern. So, I just don't think that's valid, So, I'm on Penn State money line. Patty, what are you doing?
Again, statistically, two somewhat similar teams. Oregon, number 15 in the nation in total offense. Penn State, number 19. Defensively, Penn State, number 4. Oregon, number 7. So both teams have slightly better defenses. Drew Aller, in terms of pass efficiency rating, number 7 in the nation. Dillon Gabriel, number 8. Granted, Drew Aller's only thrown 285 attempts this year. Dillon Gabriel is 374. So obviously those stats say that what we all know, which is Dillon Gabriel is a much better quarterback than Drew Aller. In the Dome, do I think that plays? I think a little bit. I think you're right, though, that the Penn State probably has a little bit of the home crowd in Indianapolis. I think it's probably going to be a pretty close game. I don't have a huge I don't have a lock, certainly. I have a tilt. Or what's an acceptable term we can use? I have a teeter. Works. I have a tilt. I'm tilting Oregon, but that's about it.
All right. Moving along. Clemson, SMU, and Charlotte. This is a fucking home game for Clemson. SMU laying 2.5. Thought about going to this game, but I don't know. I might, but Clemson's going to win this game because Clemson knows they have to win this to get in, and it's going to be a home crowd. Because even if SMU wanted to, their enrollment's like 3,000 people. They couldn't pack this place if they tried.
I saw them on social media trying to get people to go out there, but that's an uphill battle.
What do you think the split is? Because I think one of the things why I kind of like SMU here is that this is the biggest game in their college football existence. This is not Clemson's biggest game in theirs. SMU, I think they're going to travel decent for this. What do you think? 70-30?
Yeah, 70 or 80. Like I said, they might travel good for them, but it'll be 80-20. It's an NFL stadium. They don't have the numbers.
Yeah.
Like if you just took the richest SMU, I'm serious.
Well, it depends on what the ticket allotment is.
4,000 people. Yeah.
Dude, SMU, as long as those tickets are allotted, will find a way to sell their tickets.
They will be allotted. I mean, they'll be allotted.
If say 80% of the tickets are allotted and it's 40 on that realm, I would think 95% of the available tickets that aren't allotted are going to be in Clemson's favor. So yeah, close to a 60-40 probably in Clemson's favor, which SMU isn't going to be necessarily overwhelmed by.
Yeah, for me, it comes down to and the reason why I picked South Carolina last week was that Clemson still hasn't beaten a good team all year.
South Carolina got incredibly fortunate that game. 3rd and 16, and then the interception going the way it did. That was a very lucky win for South Carolina.
I'm gonna go SMU. Team of Destiny. Kevin Jennings is a difference maker. I think they get it done.
I'm on Clemson. Patty C, what are you doing here?
As much as I want to be on SMU, I think I got to be on Clemson. Unfortunately,
Patty C, what do you think if SMU loses this game?
They'll find a way to fuck them.
No, but I want them to get
Alabama in so badly.
What do you think about this? Georgia beats Texas, SMU loses to Clemson, and SMU plays at Texas in the playoffs.
Of course. That is one of the only things I want to see happen.
They're going to make sure that game doesn't happen, though.
Yeah.
The corruption will make sure that game doesn't happen. I guarantee you.
Probably by not letting SMU even in the playoffs if they lose.
True.
Although if they win and Texas wins, that could be a national semifinal, 2 versus 3. So praying for that one.
All right, next up, we're going to the Kibby Dome where the Idaho Vandals are taking on. How about Lehigh? What an upset at Richmond. The Engineers,
a badass team this year.
The Engineers, Lehigh, get it done. They've taken the goal. That was off of taking the goalpost, 4.3 miles into the what was it? The Bethlehem River. I don't know what name a river in Pennsylvania. I don't know what the fuck it was.
The Susquehanna.
Yeah.
It comes around Pittsburgh and then goes down that way.
Does one of these. They're laying 14 at that filthy Kibby Dome. Series goes back to 1993. Man, I would love for Lehigh to win this game, but I just think Idaho's a really good football team. I'm going to lay the 14 with Idaho. Patty?
It's all the way in Moscow, Idaho. Yeah, which might as well be Moscow, Russia for Lehigh. You're probably right, just based on how well Idaho played against Oregon and other competition throughout the year. Lehigh, I do think is a pretty darn good team. What is their record? They're sitting here at 9-3. Yeah, they're probably a little in over their head. The spread is 14. I don't know. Lehigh, I remember again against Army, they did end up getting throttled 42-7 by the end of that game. But I thought both their quarterback and their running back were very impressive. But yeah, I think you're right. At the end of the day, let's go Idaho to cover 14. By the way, the Three Rivers in Pittsburgh, Allegheny, Monongahela, and Ohio.
So, I was so
Susquehanna, not part of it.
So where the hell's that Susquehanna River running through?
A river in Pennsylvania.
Hold on, I gotta do a deep dive on this Susquehanna.
All right, while you do that, I will agree with you guys. I think the Lehigh Cinderella story ends here. You look at Idaho and their losses on the year to Oregon when they were in that, and then also to UCD and Montana State. So clearly the superior team and at home.
The number one team in FBS and the number one in FCS.
Yeah,
so those are forgivable losses.
Right.
Yeah, and Susquehanna runs into the Chesapeake. Did you know that, Nick?
No, I did not.
There we go. That's more of a East Coast river there.
Yeah, it starts over by Otsego Lake and pours down through Cecil County down to Hartford County.
Dude, are you guys familiar with the Erie Canal and like its importance in American history?
No, but I've done stand-up in Erie, Pennsylvania. You know how important that was in American history?
Hello.
How was Erie, Pennsylvania? Is it a shithole?
I remember getting pretty plastered at like a wannabe Buffalo Wild Wings.
All I know
seemed all right to me.
It was a very important county in the election. They talked about it. Because it can go either way, and usually it's like what do they call it, a bellwether? Is that what they call it? Like whatever side that county goes usually wins.
Really?
Did it hold true?
It did.
It's like that town. It's like that town with the groundhog there in Pennsylvania too, right?
Yeah.
The groundhog comes out. Where the hell is that again?
God, I can't remember.
Is that Poughkeepsie? No, that's New York.
It's close. Oh man, Groundhog Day. I know. I gotta look this up.
Yeah, Pennsylvania's got all this stuff, huh?
Yeah, it's not Poughkeepsie.
Punxsutawney.
There you go. I was like, it's not Piscataway. It starts with a P, damn it.
Yeah, something like that. All right.
You want bad news though? You know that they're. I think I saw they signed on to do a remake of that movie. It's gonna be fucking horrible. Anyway, folks, that's our show. What game are you most excited to watch?
Probably Mary Hardin Baylor and fucking Morningwood or something.
Honestly, the one to me is that Ferris State game against Harding. That's the game I want to watch most. Let's go.
Let me be a homer and say SMU Clemson.
Yeah. What about the Randolph-Macon Salisbury matchup at the Birdcage?
When you say watch, we actually have to be able to watch the game in order to enjoy it.
Well, they're all on ESPN Plus, Patty C.
Are they?
I gave you a fucking TV. All right, so you can balance watching the bird nest of Salisbury.
I didn't realize that Randolph-Macon versus Salisbury would be on ESPN Plus.
Plus, all right, it's all there for you.
Well, shit.
Get on over there. Look, can't wait to talk more about this. Till next time, this is the College Football Experience. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. NC Nick's on Twitter at NC__NICK. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. We got the College Basketball Experience coming up in about an hour. So get on over there. Till next time, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here. Fuck you, committee.